Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the El Cajon City Council meeting. The meeting is now called to order, and I'd like to ask our city clerk to call the roll.
All council members present.
Brett Channing, are you in the audience? Brett is our assistant city manager, and he's going to, our assistant to the city manager, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Like
If you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I would like to just take a second to recognize our brothers and sisters who are suffering in the United Kingdom today because of a terror attack. I know all of our hopes and prayers will be with them. City Clerk has posted orders of adjournment of the May 9th, 2017 meetings and the agenda of the May 23rd, 2017 meeting in accordance with state law and council authority successor agency to the redevelopment agency policy. We have several presentations on today's agenda. The first is an update from the San Diego County Water Authority. Maureen Stapleton, General Manager from the Water Authority, is here to make the presentation. Maureen, are you here? Hi, welcome.
Mayor and council members, I'm Maureen Stapleton. I'm the General Manager of the San Diego County Water Authority. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and I thank you for the time. I'm really here to give you an update on a couple things that are important, not only to our region, but to your ratepayers and your constituents. There we go. Oops. For those of you who aren't quite sure who the Water Authority is, we're the water wholesaler for the entire region, as well as the water planner. Our job is to make sure, based upon what your plans are for development and expansion, as well as your population, our job is to make sure that we have water available for your decisions. We are not ones to induce growth. We really are responsive to your general plans. We serve about 3.3 million people. It's about 97% of the entire county. We have 24 what we call member agencies. Those are the retail agencies that we sell water to and plan for. And obviously, Helix Water District is your water agency in this region. And both the general manager and the board president are here today to answer any questions you may have. The Water Authority provides between 80 and 90% of all the water that's used in the region. As you know, we've got great beaches, great canyons, beautiful weather, but we have very little local supply. Now, Helix Water District is fortunate enough to have some local supply, but compared to other areas in Southern California that have large aquifers and groundwater, we really did not get that. We have a lot of fissures and very little groundwater. And what we have in groundwater, actually, we very much utilize. We desalt it and utilize it. We've done the largest urban to agricultural water conservation and transfer program in the United States. And we've invested, when I say we, I mean this region. Your constituents, our ratepayers, have invested over $3 billion in water reliability, both in supplies as well as facilities. So, for those of you who were here in 1991, you will remember we hit a whopper of a drought. And unfortunately, at that time, we were 95% dependent on a single supplier, Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, up in the Los Angeles region. We took a 31% cut in our water for 14 months in 1991 and early 92. During 1991, we lost 52,000 jobs out of this region. And a lot of that had to do with businesses being concerned about expanding. Certainly business attraction went to zero, And business retention was difficult as well. We only had 5% of our local supply. And the Water Authority, based upon our community's outrage and the clarion call of never again put us in this jeopardy, the Water Authority determined that we needed water reliability through diversification of both of our supplies and our facilities. And you can see how we have done. Last year, we reduced that dependency on a single supplier to 41%. The blue and red pie slices are the ag to urban water transfer with Imperial Irrigation District. And then you start seeing what little local supplies we have we're maximizing. Not only just local yield through our reservoirs, but also groundwater, little bit of groundwater, as well as the orange piece is the recently operated Carlsbad desalination plant, which just came into fruition in December of 2015. And then the purple is the recycled water, which is, as you know, we are recycling water through a variety of districts are doing so and serving golf courses, parks, medians, and so forth. By 2020, our reduction in dependency on MWD goes down to 21% with a much more robust diversification. And by 2035, the big addition is at 4 o'clock, that purple slice, and that is the water reuse that is coming through City of San Diego, Padre Dam Municipal Water District, as well as a number of other water agencies. So as I said, it's not just supplies that have to be reliable, but it has to be reliable in our system. We have built 2 dams, Olivenhain Dam, as well as we raised the San Vicente Dam, and we have huge amounts of storage within the region just in case of another drought or also earthquakes. Unfortunately, our 5 large pipelines that bring water into our region cross over 3 active faults. And if we ever have activity on those faults, we want to make sure we have water in our region to supply while we do the repair. We've built one of the largest membrane treatment plants in the country at Twin Oaks. We have constructed a connection between Lake Hodges and Olivenhain. And if you recall, sometimes when it rained a lot, Lake Hodges would spill. And that was because Lake Hodges wasn't connected to any of the aqueducts. And so this actually has connected Hodges to the aqueduct. And just a few months ago, we moved water out to be utilized rather than having it in jeopardy of spill. We lined 2 canals in the desert. They were earthen canals that were seeping water. We now save that water and can move it to San Diego. And then we have an energy, we call it a pumped storage program between Hodges and Olivenhain. And that is where we capture renewable energy during the day, the excess renewable. And through that capturing, we pump water up to a higher reservoir. And in the shoulder period between 4 and 9 p.m., when solar and wind are dropping, we release that water back down. It spins the turbines, and we create 40 megawatts of power. So think of water as an opportunity for a giant battery. So I want to talk about the drought. And it's come as no surprise. California is just coming out of another drought. Droughts are very common in California, and this is the history of droughts since 1906 in California. And I always like to say we are a state of feast and famine. It seems we either have lots and lots of water or very little water. So as a water manager, you have to figure out how to survive through a drought and how to maximize water when it's available in those wet years. This past drought was no per se surprise to us. We knew we had to manage through it, and we believe that our diversification program has served us well. But you can see in 2017, and I'll show you, we were 230% of average. Amazing for the state of California. So how do you maximize that? And you maximize it by saving that water in wet years and utilizing it in dry. So I thought I'd show you some pictures and some charts because the drought has been interesting. This is a normal year. This is the wettest year on record. This is last year. This is this year. And that's 200% as of May 17th. It was 230% as of May 1, but it's starting to change. Okay, the next one. This is snow over the Sierras, and this was for April 9th. And you're talking about having snow bases like at Sugar Bowl of 751 inches, some of the highest around. They're talking about going ahead and having downhill skiing through July 4th weekend. Unbelievable. Now, yeah, all you have to do is divide that 751 inches by 12, and you're shocked at how tall that is. There's places in Mammoth where the upper chairlifts are not being operated because it's all under snow. They can't even get to the towers anymore. So I want to show you some pictures. Their eyes worth 1,000 words. This is last year at Lake Oroville, one of the largest areas or largest reservoirs on the State Water Project. This is last year. This is this year. Truckee River, one of the major feeders for the State Water Project last year. This year. Yuba River, one of the smaller feeders, and you can see people down there and that couple little boats, they're gone. It is amazing how much it has changed in a single year, and certainly as a result of that, this is Colorado River, which we take quite a bit of water off the river as well. They're 123% of average in precipitation and 122 in snowpack. So you'll see Powell and Meade starting to rise. Now, it will still have the bathtub rings, but we're on a good projection for at least this year. And then locally, we did awfully well, certainly greater than 100%. At Ramona Airport alone, we're nearly 150% of precipitation, and at Lindbergh, 125. So you know that finally, and I do say finally, the governor rescinded the drought emergencies for all counties except 4 within Central Valley. And the reason the 4 were retained is they have serious and long-term groundwater problems. They have been overdrafting that groundwater for decades. They have subsidence issues, and the state needs to focus on them. But it eliminated the stress test for the Water Authority. If you recall, in 2015, we had mandatory conservation numbers where you had to cut. And in some cases in our region, it was 20, 30, 34% cuts, mandatory cuts. But the Water Authority had 99% of all the water we needed to serve our region. So finally, they agreed to do stress tests, and that's when we were let out from under mandatory cuts and really continued on water efficiency. So he also maintained the reporting requirements and prohibition against wasteful practices. Well, the prohibitions on wasteful practices, the San Diego region has had for decades. So this really was more of a message to some of the other areas within the state of California about water efficiency. And then the implementation of an efficiency framework. And let me tell you about that framework that is giving us serious concern and will give your constituents concern. It's establishing, the proposal is to establish new water use targets for the water agencies based on indoor water use, allocating 55 gallons per person per day, and then setting specific outdoor water use standards for housing. And it will depend on if your house is built before 2010, after 2010, or after 2015. What worries us is it really doesn't clarify what it means geographically. Certainly, this area is warmer and hotter than the coast, and we want to make sure that they're taking all of that into consideration when they're starting to draft these new regulations. The area that gives us another concern is they're talking about establishing performance measures for commercial, institutional, and industrial. And we're very concerned about what that means. That means that the state is going to determine the type of business you have and what performance you should have as a result of that type of business. I worry that the state will determine from manufacturing, you'll all be swept into one-size-fits-all, and it may not be good for business or our economy. So our concerns is we believe there must be a balance between water use efficiency and developing new supplies. This should not be solely water use efficiency to where it becomes a regulation of deprivation. We want it to be balanced between the two. We also don't think that the appointed state water board should have sole authority to unilaterally set or decrease those standards, but rather that the legislature, who are elected officials, should in fact be the final vote. Obviously, we don't want commercial, industrial, and institutional to have negative impacts that result in impacts to our economy. And then the consequences of the unintended consequences that comes from some of these potential reductions give us concern, whether it be increasing the heat island in the urban areas due to the loss of trees, whether it be that the flow in the wastewater system becomes problematic because you have less liquid. We're very much concerned that this be evaluated and analyzed before regulations are adopted. So let me talk about the rate case. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's been going on quite some time. I want to tell you what's at stake and why the Water Authority, on behalf of our 3 million residents, are fighting so hard. In the first 8 years alone, we believe that we have been overcharged over $500 million for transporting the water from Imperial Valley to San Diego. And our agreement with Imperial Valley is 45 years. And if we don't get this fixed, it could mean as much as $7.5 billion coming out of our ratepayers' pockets, going up to L.A. to subsidize other water agencies in Los Angeles, Orange, Ventura, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties. This is worth the fight. In addition, they have miscalculated our water rights, and we believe we have more water rights than what they say we do. And the amount of water rights we're arguing over is worth another Carlsbad desal plant. It's that much water. So we're fighting hard, and we're trying to preserve, I think, fair and equitable rates for our ratepayers. So the lower court in November of 2015 deemed Met's rates illegal. They violated the Constitution, the Wheeling Statute, Government Code, Common Law, and the lower court awarded us $244 million in damages for the first 4 years alone. We just had oral arguments in May of this year, and we're waiting on the appellate court decision. We anticipate one or both parties will appeal to the Supreme Court, and we do expect the Supreme Court most likely will take it up. These are the areas that, they're very technical areas of what we're arguing about, whether we have rights to sue, whether Proposition 26 adopted by the voters applies, a variety of things. So let me talk about an area that I really want to focus on today, and that is the financial practices of Metropolitan Water District and what it means for your customers. Met last did a long-range financing plan in 2004. Now, that's a long time ago, and they haven't updated their plan since. And this was their projection of their high-low in their rates in 2004. This is what the rates actually did, off quite a bit. Their rates in the last 10 years doubled, were 100%, and they averaged 7.2% per year. Now it's about 5 years ago, in 2012, they started having financial practices that gave us grave concern. And the first one is they began over-collecting and overcharging all of their member agencies. And in a 4-year time period, they over-collected $847 million from their member agencies, including San Diego. Our share was about $189 million. We were overcharged during just these 4 years alone. And as you know, that cost goes down to our water ratepayer. So Helix's share of that overcharge was $12 million, meaning we had to charge Helix, meaning your residents, $12 million more than was necessary from 2012 to 2015. So the question is, what did they do with the money? They spent it. And in that 4 years, now 2013 to 2016, they spent $1.2 billion more than their approved budget. This is above and beyond their budget. These were, if you ask them, opportunity expenditures. They spent $300 million on a turf replacement program. Now, we totally support turf replacement, but $300 million and with no receipts. That's what worried us. And there's been quotes in the newspaper where they have given out checks because there are no receipts required. You just tell them how much you're going to take out, and it is way more than what the actual cost of re-landscaping is. LA Times did an article that was very negative to the oversight and management of that program. In addition, let me back up. In addition, they bought 5 islands in the Bay Delta in the Sacramento area, spent $175 million. And when asked what the purpose was, the general manager said, well, they could be used for leasing to farmers, environmental mitigation, maybe an estuary, we don't know. What's most troubling is they bought the islands without an appraisal. What public agency purchases property without an appraisal? We know of none, with the exception of Met. So you can see they spent more than they collected. So what did they do? Last year, they borrowed $900 million, unanticipated borrowing. It was not in their projections. They'll tell you they have a financial plan in their 2-year budget, 13 pages, which is not a financial plan. But even that plan must be poor because they didn't even anticipate $900 million in borrowing. And the borrowing is not just muni bonds. They did some private bank loans and lines of credit with private banks with interest rates noted as up to 12%. And then finally, they depleted their cash reserves. So when they borrowed the $900 million, $300 million of the private bank loans, the borrowing from commercial banks, went into their operating reserves. Again, I know of no public agency that borrows money to stick it in a reserve and then pay interest on it. So these are examples of questions that we have on behalf of our ratepayers and your ratepayers to see what's going on up there and how we can address this issue. So we're doing an expanded informational effort. We're talking to public officials such as yourself. We want to get the word out, and I think what's most important is to educate people about what's really going on, and not just in the San Diego region, but our, Mark Muir, who's a council member of Encinitas, Jim Medaffer, who is a former council member of San Diego. They are our chair and vice chair, and they're going to the other counties and areas to say, hey, we're concerned and you should be too. So what we're asking today is we're asking you to really also use the opportunity to get the word out. What we would like you to do is when you're at a League of California Cities meeting and you see maybe council members from other Southern California areas, at least ask them, hey, have you heard about the MWD activities? What is your thought? Are you concerned? In addition, if you have any groups that you would like us to meet with, we'd be happy to have a speaker come out and speak on this issue. We're really trying to just shine a spotlight on what we think are risky financial practices of a public agency that is pulling money from our ratepayers every single day. And then finally, we'd like to ask you to consider adopting a resolution of support as we continue to represent our ratepayers and fight the good fight. Thank you for your attention. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Council? Excellent presentation. Bob?
You said that was going to the Supreme Court. I assume you're talking about California Supreme Court.
Yes, it is. It would only be California Supreme Court.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'll need it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the information. That's really shocking. It's obvious how much I paid my water bill yesterday. I remember the water bill used to be like $30 or $40, and now it's almost like a car payment, and it's just shocking.
Yeah, and the largest portion of our cost increases are metropolitan.
Yeah, and it makes somewhat sense that there's no way around it, but if there's shenanigans happening, good for you. Let us know whatever we can do to help.
Great. Thank you very much.
And, Mr. City Manager, I just would like to see this on a future agenda item for us to write that letter of support. At a resolution, please, yeah. Thank you. Okay. Next, we have videos on the America on Main Street event. Sarah Ramirez, our Director of Recreation, is going to tell us about the first video. Hi, Sarah.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. The fourth annual America on Main Street was a big hit despite the hot weather. The attendance grew quickly with the sun setting. There was an excitement in the air and fun energy throughout the event. Prescott Promenade was hopping. It was wonderful to see happy faces as parents explored the event with their excited children. They couldn't believe that the event was free, and they were absolutely thrilled. We kicked off the event with a heartwarming naturalization ceremony. 100 new residents were naturalized, and 54 nations were represented. As they read the list of countries, it felt like I was in the Olympics. After the ceremony, a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter flew by and waved congratulations to our new citizens. Frank, can you roll our video, please?
America on Main Street started with a naturalization ceremony with 100 new citizens from 54 countries. Celebrating Armed Forces Day. over 30 performances throughout the day. This year's theme, Come Play for the Day.
Some people rocking, others chanting, feeling hot, hot, hot. Come on and do it, feel the spirit, feeling hot, hot, hot. Hand in the air, celebration time. Come on now, let the soul unwind. We need a party song, a song that's meant to jump. Let it rum bum bum bum. Let it rum bum bum bum. Ole, ole, ole.
5 happy winners from the scavenger hunt.
Let it rum bum bum bum. Let it rum bum bum bum. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot. How you feeling? Feeling hot, hot, hot. Yo, right. Feeling hot, hot, hot. People in the party, hot, hot, hot. People in the party, hot, hot, hot. All the party people say they're feeling hot. All the party people say they're feeling hot. And we hear it from the top, we're feeling hot. We hear it from the top, we're feeling hot. And you come to the party, what you got? You come to the party, what you got? Well, I'm hot, you're hot. He's hot, she's hot. I'm hot, you're hot. He's hot, she's hot. Get hot. How you feeling? All right.
Join us next year, May 19th, 2018.
I have a few fun facts. As you saw, we have 150 volunteers. They worked 600 hours to help provide this event. We had 3 stages, and it's important to know that we have representation from all 6 continents. The whole world was there. 4 bikes and 1 Taylor guitar was given away to 5 lucky participants. They were so thrilled. I wish you were all there to see their thumbs up. And staff and volunteers, they drank 2,400 bottles of water. Did I say it was hot? It was hot, hot, hot. Actually, it was the hottest May 20th in the history of El Cajon. 94 degrees in the shade, and for all of us walking on the asphalt, 104. The highlight for me is always that chili cook-off. Hundreds of ballots were counted to see who had the best chili. People's Choice, best chili, Heartland Fire. People's Choice, best decorated booth, Heartland Fire. This is the big one, though. First place for best chili, judged by our judges. Downtown El Cajon Business Partners. Way to go, Kathy. I would like to thank our fully integrated team. Police, fire, public works, which there's a lot in the audience today. City manager's office, recreation, planning, finance, and city clerk. We have been meeting for over a year to make this event happen for our community. This team did an amazing job in preparation for and the execution of America on Main Street. We pulled it together seamlessly despite the challenging weather. Well done, team. Any questions?
Let me see. Any questions?
Oh.
I just want to say, Bob?
What was the estimated attendance? The
I
real estimate of the one that the Union Tribune.
Okay. So we started out very strong, and then the 104 heat hit on the asphalt. You couldn't see anybody walking the streets. They were off to the side. I have to tell you, when the sun went down, it rocked. It had that fun, exciting feeling. Last year we had 30,000 with a weather of 70 degrees. This year we estimated about 20,000.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
You can clap for that. That's good.
Okay.
Well, Sarah, I just wanted to say thank you. You and your staff go above and beyond. I know everybody's involved in this. Thanks to all the police officers and firefighters who are involved. And Mr. Carson, thank you. I got to do some of the pre-event things with Frank, and he's a pro and does a great job. And we're all very proud of the work you've done. Thank you.
Did anyone actually see the violinists at the naturalization ceremony? Did
Yeah.
you hear that?
Yeah, it's good.
Well, I'd like to say Frank's 2 daughters and wife led that, and it was absolutely fabulous,
Oh,
Frank.
nice. Gary?
Yeah, I left for a few hours and I came back around 5 o'clock, and it was a packed house then. And what struck me was how many kids with smiling faces, and it was interesting. I was hearing all languages of the world, and it's a great place for all these ethnic groups in our city to come together and have a good time, standing side by side, and eating ice cream and all sorts of other great things, and going down the slides together and playing games together. It was just a wonderful event.
Well, I should say, and it kind of will lead us into our next section, we would not be able to provide this event without our terrific sponsors. So we do have some things to give out. Could the mayor and the council come below?
First off, I think we have to see another video first, right? So we have,
okay.
it's just more and more. So,
All right.
and our next video is by Mr. Muhammad Tama. Mr. Tama? Welcome. And then Sarah will be down to give away all the...
Honorable Mayor, council members, and city staff, good afternoon. My name is Mohammed Tuama. I'm a founder and director of the Newcomer Support and Development, an organization based in El Cajon, working with skilled and foreign credentialed newcomers with the relicensing and recertification processes here. One of the newest programs that we are having here is leadership and civic engagement for newcomers, and what we have now is a leadership academies for newcomers in El Cajon to promote healthy activities and positive change in our local communities. We have, since Frank came to one of our workshops and he promoted America on Main Street, we have a lot of community members who decided to volunteer with this event, and just to make it go smoothly. And I believe it was really good last year and was like this year. And here we have 60 volunteers from the newcomers community. And when I say newcomers, those are refugees, immigrants who came in since 2006 and later. And our goal is to create a sense of belonging for the newcomers community here. And this video was created by one of the skilled newcomers who is heading directly to LA, going to Hollywood, but we actually stopped him here, and we said this is Valley of Opportunity, so try your luck for 6 months and then move on. So I just hope that you enjoy this video. It's a short video talking about just showing our volunteers' activity within this event, and I will speak a few minutes later after this.
Thanks, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you. Just the credits. We have 60 volunteers over here, and I would just like to say that we wouldn't be able to do this without the help and support of Sarah and Frank and the whole rec department staff that make everything easier for us to handle 60 registration one day. So thank you very much, Frank and Sarah and Frank. We have a lot of footage that we took, but we didn't use in this video because we want to dedicate that for our volunteers. Our filmmaker, he is going to work on, he call it 1 minute campaign video to promote America on Main Street for next year. And we have, I believe, 2 hours of footage and 5 cameras. So hopefully that work with the city staff to give that to the city, and hopefully we get more visitors next year.
Is your filmmaker here right now?
He's going to be here tonight.
Okay, we'll single him out today, but tell him thank you. I was really impressed by the quality of that video.
Thank you.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. No? Hey, thank you so much. Well, go ahead, Gary.
Well, I think it'd be great if you guys could come out and help us with Hunt Fest, too. The more city events we have that we bring the immigrants in and make them part of our world, the better.
You bet.
Anyway, thank you for the time you put in. I know you're very active in the community, and thank you for all the people that are volunteering to help make our community a better place, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So next, council, let's go down. We've got some awards to give, and Sarah's going to come back up. Monica, hi.
Thank you, Mayor.
Would you please introduce the America on Main Street Sponsor Award recipients?
It would be my pleasure. We're starting off with our premier sponsors supporting us for America on Main Street 2017. I'd like to start with Waste Management. So if Christine Costa from Waste Management could come on down. Waste Management is always one of the first to step up and support our local events. They helped sponsor the giant slide this year. This area was crowded throughout the entire event. Hundreds of children and adults enjoyed this ride all day long. Again, it was the giant slide provided by Waste Management. Thank you, Christine. Next, we'd like to thank the Downtown El Cajon Business Partners. If Kathy Zeman and her team would come forward. This is the 4th year Downtown El Cajon Business Partners assisted with publicity and hosted the stage in the Prescott Promenade. This stage rocked the big bands. So thank you again to the Downtown El Cajon Business Partners. We can always depend on you. Thank you, Kathy. Also among our premier sponsors, we have 2 of our local tribes. We have from Barona Band of Mission Indians, Dana Rivers, if you'll come on down, and Lashana Davidson and Lauren Morrow with Sequan Band of Kumeyaay Nation. The local tribes of Barona and Sequan hosted the stage in the Centennial Plaza for the 4th year. This stage featured the naturalization ceremony, community, ethnic, and youth performing groups, and throughout the event, hundreds of children were seen performing on stage while the audience enjoyed the fun and energetic music. Again, thank you to Barona and Sequan. Next, we'd like to thank Parkway Plaza. If Ken Gray from Parkway Plaza could come on down. This is the 4th year Parkway Plaza has been a sponsor for America on Main Street. This year, they hosted the premier stage on Main Street near Claydell Avenue. This stage featured the big bands and ethnic performances, which attracted large and varied audiences. Ken, we thank you for always being such a supportive and positive and energetic partner in sponsoring America on Main Street. Thank you, Parkway Plaza. And from Walmart, if he's here, Edwin Tresillos from Walmart. Are you here? Oh, yes. Walmart's contribution sponsored the quarterback attack and petting zoo. This active area provided hours of fun for many children. Energetic, happy children were able to meet up close a llama, a baby alpaca, a calf, chickens, a baby pig, sheep, a tortoise, and much more. So thank you again to Walmart. Now we'd like to thank our principal sponsors, SDG&E, San Diego Gas and Electric. If Cameron Durkle, are you here? SDG&E is responsible for helping fund the basketball fun court press and the 9-foot by 16-inch, 9 by 16 LED screen in the sports zone. Now, this screen featured our sponsors, the entertainment schedule, photos of people, events, and activities throughout the site, and it helped to bring that wow factor to the event. So thank you to San Diego Gas and Electric and Cameron Durkle. Now we'd like to thank Kaiser Permanente, Roger Doherty, if you are here. With a hospital coming soon to El Cajon, Kaiser Permanente helped fund the Rock Wall and new this year the preschool play zone, which provided new opportunities to children under the age of 5. The Kaiser Health Mobile also provided health screenings and healthy lifestyle information to our community. Thank you to Kaiser Permanente. Thank you, Cameron. Or Roger, I should say. And now to our principal sponsors, Cajon Valley Union School District. If there is a representative here, Liz Lothar, if you are here, come forward. Cajon Valley Union School District has been an outstanding media partner. They help produce the flyers, the banners, and promotional materials for our local students and the community. Thank you so much for your continued support from the Cajon Valley Union School District. And thank you again, Liz. Our partner sponsors, we have two, Cox Communications and Cottonwood Electric Cart Service. So Scott Scrimminger and from Cox Communications, and if he's here, Mike Martinez from Cottonwood Electric Cart Service. Cox Communications supported the fire engine slide on Main Street near Magnolia. There were lines of excited children waiting in front all day long for this slide. Again, that was the inflatable fire truck. And Cottonwood Electric Cart Service provided golf carts for staff to use for setup prior to the event and throughout America on Main Street. Your carts were used to transport supplies, ice, entertainment equipment, decorations, and more. So your golf carts saved the feet of our very hardworking staff. So thank you to, again, our partner sponsors, Cox Communications and Cottonwood Electric Cart Service. And our partner sponsors, Eyeglass World and San Diego East County Chamber of Commerce. So Amanda Fleischer from Eyeglass World, if you'll come forward, and Eric Lunn from the San Diego East County Chamber of Commerce. Eyeglass World sponsored the spring training jumper, which also provided hours of fun for all. And San Diego East County Chamber of Commerce partnered with the Recreation Department to produce an outstanding chili cook-off in the Wighorse Museum outside patio. And they helped with staffing, sponsors, judges, ticket sales, prizes, and a whole lot more. So we couldn't have done it without them. So thank you to Eyeglass World and East County Chamber of Commerce. And wrapping up our sponsors, our Friends sponsor. We've got several. San Diego County Credit Union, Sarah Bellew, if you're here, come on forward. And Navy Federal Credit Union, Anna Scheinebarger. Cal Coast Credit Union, Robert Scheid and Jennifer Calderon. Mountain Health and Community Services, Sabrina Weisinger. East County Urgent Care, Omid Abari. Banner Bank, Toyota of El Cajon, and North Island Credit Union. Again, these are our Friends sponsors. Thank you again to all our sponsors, and we hope to see you back again next year for 2018. And Mayor and City Council. Oh, for those who are here that from the different sponsors, out front our photographer would like to take a picture with your awards. So Mayor and City Council and staff, prior to the America on Main Street event, we held a poster contest for 5th grade students here in the city because that's the grade level studying American history. Students were asked to draw one of 3 subjects, a patriotic theme or someone famous in American history, a sports theme, because that was the theme of this year's event, come play for the day, and it could be both, combining both someone famous in history playing a sport. So the wording America on Main Street, come play for the day, had to be on the front, and of course their name on the back, and neatness and spelling count. So through judges, we had dozens of posters submitted by area schools, and we had members of the Friends of East County Arts group who are here today, if you'd like to come forward. Oh, here we go, right here. They were our judges, and they were our prize sponsors. If you can join the mayor right up there. So they provided $75 for our first place winner, $50 for our second place winner, and $25 for our third place winner. And Ken Gray, if you could come forward, from Parkway Plaza, he also sponsored part of this in that he's providing movie tickets for each of our winners, our 3 winners. And not only for the winners of the poster contest, but also the winning teacher of that student. So with that, I'd like to introduce our 3 winners for this year's 2017 America on Main Street Poster Contest. We're going to start with our 3rd place winner, Miles Worthington from Flying Hills Elementary School. His teacher is Miss Mallory. And so that's the poster in his hand that we had laminated.
Can you show us your poster? Very nice. Can you explain this to everybody?
Well, I drew Uncle Sam, and I put patches on his hat for sports balls, and then I put, soccer, basketball, and baseball.
Excellent. Congratulations.
So again, Miles Worthington, our third place winner from Flying Hills. And
all
our
you kids, tomorrow on Channel 24 at 7 p.m., you'll be on television, so be sure and tell your friends to watch you on television, so you'll be a hero to them.
And then our second place winner from Flying Hills Elementary School again in Miss Mallory's class, Emily Bell, second place winner for our poster contest. If Emily is here.
Hi. Can you tell us about your poster?
I drew Jackie Robinson because we learned about him once, and I thought he was a really awesome baseball player, and he would be really inspirational.
Nice job. Thank you.
Again, congratulations, Emily Bell. And winning our first place award from Holy Trinity School, teacher Ms. Herta, Amanda Pippins. And I believe this is the second year in a row that Holy Trinity had the first place winner. So these three winning posters, as you've seen and heard, she did a very nice job.
Well, I don't know if you can see this back there. The artistry is just fantastic. Can you tell us about this?
Someone dunking into the basket.
So how's your dunking abilities?
Not good, I'm sure.
Better on paper?
I can't either. So congratulations.
I should say the three winning posters. And we had 15 runner-up posters. All of them were posted at the event, America on Main Street, on a special wall, so that all the students could come. And in fact, a lot of them from, again, Flying Hills Elementary were really fascinated because a lot of their posters were posted as supporting the poster contest. So congratulations to all three winners, and thank you to all submitted posters for our 2017 America on Main Street poster contest. You all did a great job. And would you like to say some words? This is. Oh, go ahead and take the microphone here.
I represent Friends of Youth County Arts Association, Incorporated, and I'll give you the mission statement. It's a philanthropic organization. The purpose of this organization shall be to provide funds for the growth and development of audiences for live performing arts, to present world-class artists, and to support the fine arts and artists at Greater East San Diego.
Thank you for being our judges. Thank you.
Our next presentation is Youth of the Year Award. I'd like to ask Susie Lowe, Recreation Services Supervisor, to please come forward and introduce this year's recipients. Oh, let's move down. Lots of people coming.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. It's my privilege, along with the Teen Coalition's privilege, to announce this year's Youth of the Award winners for both our high school and our middle school. And I have to say this is a really unique award because it is peer-driven. The young men and women that stand in front of you are the ones that select the award. We had about 9 high school nominations, as well as we had several middle school nominations. And I think those that kind of heard the nominations, it was a very difficult decision because there's so many youth out there in El Cajon that are just doing so many great, wonderful things that make El Cajon a better place to live. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our chair, Lily Bell, who's going to tell you a little bit about the award.
The City of El Cajon Teen Coalition sponsors the annual Youth of the Year to recognize those youth who go above and beyond in serving their community through their leadership abilities and or their dedication and commitment to community service in El Cajon. All nominations are reserved for youth who are residents of the City of El Cajon, and service must be completed within the calendar year previous to the nomination period. The award for 2017 is based on service conducted in 2016. This year, the Teen Coalition selected a middle school award recipient and a high school award recipient. Each recipient will receive this award recognition for their hard work and dedication to their community, and their names will be placed on a perpetual plaque that is displayed in City Hall. Our winner for Youth of the Year in high school from Granite Hills High School is Anier Agath. I would like to invite both Anier and Mr. Fowler, the principal of Granite Hills High School, to come up and accept the award.
So go ahead. So I want to say a little bit about the qualities of this young lady. So Anier came to the U.S. as a refugee from Sudan when she was a child. Her dedication to her school and community shows she is an amazing person. She is dedicated to her school and demonstrates this through her involvement in clubs and sports. She is the president of both Club Avid and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. In fact, it was Anier as a freshman who was responsible for bringing back Fellowship of Christian Athletes back to their campus. She's a 2-year member of Eagle Inc., a club with the upperclassmen who assist freshmen throughout the year, as well as represent the school as ambassadors for events held on campus. Anier has been on the varsity track team as well as the varsity cross-country team for 4 years, and she is a leader and motivator as she inspires many of her classmates. In addition to her leadership roles on campus, Anier proves to be a wonderfully selfless young lady off campus as well. Though she donated time and worked hard in the community for the last 4 years, specifically 2016, she was an intern for Rise San Diego, which is an organization that works with local communities to develop urban communities. She worked as a camp counselor for Camp of America, a camp for kids who came from households with drug use and violence. She also found time to volunteer at the City of Refugee Homeless Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And as if this is not enough, she also participated with her church in building a home in Tijuana, Mexico. In 2016, Anier was awarded for her hard work. She won an internship with Qualcomm to be completed during her spring break this year. She was named the 2016 Alexander Hamilton Scholar, and she was the national winner of the National Center for Women Information Technology for her interest in the field of technology. And she's a truly amazing student. She, again, finds time to participate in sports and clubs. And while she's doing all this, it's amazing, she maintains a 4.0 GPA. She's a truly deserving person for the Youth of the Year and well-rounded, and she's a huge asset to our community. And I heard that she's a very good track star, and kind of hearing that maybe Olympics are in your field someday, maybe. Okay, so congratulations, Anier.
We will now proceed with the Middle School Youth of the Year Award by Alvin Mwangi.
Thank you, Lily. It is my proud honor today to honor the Youth of the Year Award to a middle school student in 8th grade, and this award will go to Bianca Marco.
So Bianca, come on down, and I think the teacher is here. Mrs. Steiner is here to say a few words about the nomination, and I know Mr. Bailey, her principal, is here as well.
As an 8th grade team, we nominated Bianca, and so there were her 4 teachers that came together and found this young lady to be an incredibly outstanding person. She is outstanding in multiple ways. She's an academic standout, which shows through her streams of A's as she goes through middle school. And she has not only gotten the A's, but in the most rigorous of classes, in the honors classes in English and math. She is also a member of our advanced band and not only performs at school, but is working to perform for the TEDx event and other special things, and we're very proud of her there. She is a member of after-school sports. She is a member of the yoga club. She is in homeroom. She has chosen to be the ASB representative of our homeroom and has taken on things to help other students. She created a Steps to Straight A's, not that she needed to follow these steps. She already did naturally, but to help others achieve what she's able to achieve. She is bilingual, bicultural, and able to help our students that need that bridge into our community. And Bianca's always, always willing to help any student that needs it. She is a leader, and she has shown us that by giving, she can succeed. We are very, very proud of her.
All right. Can we have one more round of applause for all these great kids? Thank you. These kids are motivated. Wow. Our final presentation is a proclamation for National Public Works Week. Yasmin Ariano, Deputy Director of Public Works and City Engineer, and Dennis Davies, Deputy Director of Public Works, will be accepting the proclamation. Would you all please come forward, please? Monica, would you recite the proclamation for us?
Yes, sir. A proclamation for National Public Works Week, May 21 through 27, 2017. Whereas National Public Works Week is a celebration of the men and women who provide and maintain the infrastructure and services collectively known as public works. Public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our residents' everyday lives. The support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as wastewater, streets, stormwater collection, public buildings, and traffic safety. And whereas instituted as a public education campaign in 1960 by President John F. Kennedy, National Public Works Week is an annual reminder of the many ways public works contributes to our quality of life. The health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depend on these facilities and services. The quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, construction, and maintenance, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials. And whereas this week seeks to enhance the prestige of the often unsung heroes of municipalities, the professionals who serve the public good every day with quiet dedication. In observance of this year's theme, Public Works Connects Us, the City Council acknowledges and celebrates the vital role Public Works plays in connecting us all through the structures and services that keep us linked together from coast to coast, keeps us healthy, allows our communities to grow and prosper. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, to hereby proclaim the week of the 21st through the 27th of 2017 to be National Public Works Week in the City of El Cajon. We further call upon all residents and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works services and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Signed this 23rd day of May, 2017.
Thank you. I would like to thank the City Council and the City Manager for taking the time to honor our Public Works employees who work tirelessly in our community to improve our residents' quality of life. And if I could please ask you to stand up while I pass the microphone to Dennis.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to recognize
Come on, Public Works, stand up.
all the different divisions we have, engineering, streets, traffic, parks, facilities, our fleet management. We have wastewater collections, stormwater, GIS, and our admin staff. I want to thank you guys for all your contributions. And again, I'd like to just reiterate and thank the city manager and city council for giving us the continued support so we can maintain the infrastructure. I really appreciate it.
This is a group that can be judged by what we don't have. We don't have potholes, we don't have floods, we don't have sewage spills, and you'll notice when Public Works is not doing its job, you'll definitely notice, and this group does an excellent job, and we're very proud of them. Council. Let's get through it. All right, staff, do you have any agenda changes?
To begin with, Mr. Mayor, not a change but an announcement, and I'm going to ask Brett Channing to walk up to the podium. He doesn't want to, but I'm going to make him walk up to the podium. As the council knows, we have a bittersweet moment this week bidding goodbye to Brett. This was his last week and his last council meeting. Hired Brett about 3.5 years ago as assistant to the city manager. He was since promoted to Deputy Director of Administrative Services, and he's recently accepted a position of Director of Management Services for the City of Lake Forest, one of my many former homes. But it's near where Brett and his wife grew up, and he's heading back home, which we certainly understand, and it's a fantastic move for Brett and his family. Brett has done everything, regardless of what title he's had. He's really been the super jack of all trades, my right arm for these past many years. He's the animal shelter that is having our groundbreaking tomorrow morning. He's had a major role in that. Proposition O, which is the funding source for that, and overseeing the oversight committee. The city newsletter, fantastic newsletter, has been under Brett's management for years now, a myriad of human resources responsibilities. He's Sarah Ramirez's partner with virtually all of our public events. He's our legislative analyst. The mayor's worked very closely with him over the years. He deals with our lobbyists up in Sacramento, and on and on and on. It'd be here all night if I told you everything that Brett did. In fact, I had a couple of executives in my office today, and we were going through Brett's list of things he'd worked on, and we realized it was going to take 6 people to replace him. So, and they don't know that yet, so we're going to start assigning that tomorrow. Anyway, I wanted to afford Brett a few minutes to say a few words. So, sir, the microphone's yours.
Thank you very much. As Doug mentioned, it was absolutely a bittersweet move to accept the job with the City of Lake Forest. I've absolutely enjoyed 100% being here in El Cajon. Every minute has been such a pleasure. I've enjoyed working with all of you, City Council members. Thank you so much for your leadership. It really has made working here in El Cajon a place that I really enjoyed being, knowing that we had the support from the City Council in the direction that we were going. So thank you very much for that. I also want to thank Doug. Thank you so much for taking a chance on me and bringing me down here from Orange County originally. I greatly appreciate your mentorship and leadership, and I've learned a lot from you, and I know we'll be in touch for a long time because I'm sure I'll continue to pick your brain as the years go by, so thank you. I also want to thank Jim Lynch, my other boss that I've worked with for the last 3.5 years. Thank you, Jim, for all of your leadership and mentorship as well, and I've learned a lot from you, and I thank you very much for all of your time invested in me. I also want to thank the rest of the executive team. I've really enjoyed working with each one of you. It's been the best team that I've worked with, and I know Doug's mentioned this many times, that we really have a great group of executives here in El Cajon that get a lot accomplished. And I thank you for all embracing me and letting me be a part of your team. I also want to thank the rest of the Administrative Services Department staff that may be here. Thank you for letting me lead you through the past few years. It's been a pleasure working with you, as well as the other City Manager Office staff as well. And I also just want to say it's been an honor to serve the City of El Cajon and the residents. One of the things I enjoy most about being here is how appreciative the residents really are of the things that we accomplish. And there's so much to do here, and everything that we do that we can improve the city, I know a lot of people really appreciate it. And I'm just hopeful that I'm able to leave this city better than when I came 3.5 years ago. So thank you again. I'll certainly miss El Cajon. I have a special place in my heart, and I hope I can keep in touch with as many of you as I possibly can. Thank you.
Wait, Brett, don't go away. Council, did you want to heap praise upon Brett? Ben?
I have worked with you for the shortest amount of time, I think. But one thing I have to say, that every time I talk to you, the thing that always is apparent is your honesty, and that's really rare. So, and another thing too, when I got elected, I'm like, sweet, another young person here. So thanks for leaving me hanging. Yeah. But no, honestly, it's your honesty and you're genuine and pragmatic, which is something I always admired about you. So thank you for all your work, and good luck with your endeavors.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed meeting you and working with you, Brett, and sometimes the older people have some wisdom. So pay attention to the old people when you get up there, because that's something that you have to gain over a period of time. You remember that, Ben?
Well, Brett, you've always been really cheery, and you've always had the answers to the questions that I've asked, and we're going to all miss you.
Thank you.
Like Ben, it's been a short ride already, but you are wiser than I am in many ways, and it's been good to learn from you. So I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Well, Brett's an extremely sharp young guy. He's got a great attitude. He's very easy to get along with, and he's got a lot of integrity. And I have no doubt that if he chooses to be, he will be a city manager of a lucky city very soon. Thank you, Brett, for all your time. We've worked you to death, but that's what young people are for. And hope you learned a lot and had to go off with your beautiful wife and baby and have a great life. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, staff, any more agenda changes?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I'd like to ask the City Council to add to the agenda by a 4/5 vote an item, a closed session item, to be included as item 15.2, a conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation significant exposure litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D of section 54956.9. There's one potential case. The facts and circumstances are that we received a letter just yesterday after the agenda was posted alleging violations of the Labor Code, the Brown Act, and the United States Constitution on the part of City Council members. The allegations were made by Mr. Colascio through his attorney. We need to meet this afternoon so that you can get advice from me or ask questions before you make any decisions at this evening's meeting. It has to do with the district map election. And the letter of his attorney will be available for any member of the public who wants to get a copy of it.
Thank you. Council, any agenda changes?
Mr. Mayor, this will
Yes.
need to be voted by the council on 4/5, just as a repeat.
I'm sorry, please say again.
We need a 4/5 vote to add this item to the agenda.
Okay, motion to move to do so. Move and second, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
That brings us to consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any consent items? Staff, do you wish to pull any consent items?
No, sir.
Belinda, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
Yes, sir, we do. We have item 1.5 and 1.8 pulled by members of the public.
All right, before we call those, we'll go ahead and make a motion to approve all other consent items with the exception of 1.5 and 1.8. Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Then please call the card for 1.5.
Stephanie Harper.
Ms. Harper.
Hello. Good afternoon. Okay, when I brought this discrepancy to council's attention back at the April 26th, 2016 meeting, I was red-lighted, which was the only time I was ever red-lighted. No one answered my questions. No one explained to me what was going on or offered me an explanation. No comment was made except for Mayor Wells telling me that he would have staff look into it. I seem to find this over again whenever there's a surplus. On the surplus list, there are 9 vehicles that we bought during the 2015-2016 fiscal year. They're marked on here. Also, I found the same discrepancy last year when there were 10 items on the same physical budget that were being surplused. We just ended up paying $600,064. We paid a lot of money at the last meeting for the 2017 motor vehicles. This brings us to more than $7 million in less than 5 years we spent on cars, and half of them it looks like we're surplusing right after we buy them. Can somebody explain this to me?
Yeah, actually, I'll ask the city manager to talk about this.
I'll ask Director of Finance or Naheed to come out.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, distinguished council members, staff, public. I believe part of the confusion here is perhaps when we request replacement of old, used, and surplus equipment, we'll reference the piece of equipment in the budget. A lot of times we will manage to keep that equipment in service beyond that fiscal year, so you may see that listed for replacement multiple years in a row, even without us purchasing the new vehicle. The action today is to actually dispose of that vehicle when we have finally reached the end of its useful life, and that's the action before you today.
And just to add to that, if you look down the year of the vehicle under the second page was the surplus vehicle equipment, there's nothing there from 2015. These are all in the 90s. Early 2000s, there's a couple international vehicles from a few years ago, but everything, or beyond that, everything is from, I'd say about 10 to 15 years old.
Okay.
Just one more comment. what happens with these vehicles is we've done studies in the past where it shows that after a vehicle becomes 10 or 12 years old, it actually costs us more to maintain them than it would cost to replace it and then have very little maintenance for the next 10 or 12 years. So at some point, it's just ready to get rid of it. It's not cost effective to keep it anymore.
Doug, is this policy unique to the city of El Cajon, or do other cities do the same thing?
All cities do this, yeah. When a vehicle wears out and we keep it in our fleet management as long as we possibly can until it becomes more expensive to maintain it than it does to go out and get a different vehicle, then it's time to surplus it, and that's what we do. That's what all cities do.
So in your opinion, is there anything controversial about this policy?
Not at all. These are all old, very heavily used vehicles. It's time to replace them.
Any other questions? All right, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I'd like to make a motion then to approve item 1.5. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Could you please call the card for 1.8?
Dennis Bragg.
Mr. Bragg, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. I just wanted to go ahead and 1.8 support and answer any questions that the City Council might have in order to extend the project for the subdivision at 1123 East Washington Street.
This is your subdivision?
Yes, it is.
And you do want to extend the time?
I definitely want to extend the time.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Questions? Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So I'd like to make a motion that approve item 1.8. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
That brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda today. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Belinda, do we have any cards under public comment?
Yes, we do. The first speaker is Andre Z. Handelar.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Good morning. Good afternoon. First of all, Your Honor, I'd like to tell you that the project on Saturday was magnificent. It really was. Secondly, I'd like to tell you that seeing all these young people here coming through pleased me to no great extent. I do have a complaint, and it's not necessarily against the council. I think maybe it's against the way we do business. But I have a problem, and I'd like you to hear me out. I imagine you'll want to discuss it briefly. You've all seen the photograph in front of you. As you know, it's been an ongoing problem with marijuana dispensaries. The City Council, in its judgment, has decided not to license them, or the city has, through its administration. We've tried to get rid of the unlicensed dispensaries. You've been very successful in getting rid of a majority of them. Last count I had was about 28, and I believe that it's down to about 8 now that are stubborn. I know that one of the policies has been, when possible, to pull the electric meter if they're in violation of fire codes, et cetera. And Mr. McClellan, you corrected me earlier in this meeting. I believe you said the fine went up to $2,400 a day. Is that $25? Thank you for correcting me.
We're anticipating that in the future.
Yes, sir. And so the photograph I bring to you today is, you may recall about 2 meetings ago, the comment was made, I wish I had a drone. And I am a commercial drone pilot. I am approved by the FAA, and I do everything lawfully. And I'd had it last Friday night. I heard the generators running on the roof of this marijuana dispensary, that the city had kindly pulled the electric meters, and these people just keep on going. In this case, one of the property owners is a partner in it. They were moved 2 doors down. This is the one that was at 1305 Broadway, and it went down to 1309. And so what do? How do we get rid of them? Well, when I took the video, to see what was going on, I could hear the generator going. And up on the roof, as you can see with the photograph I provided to everybody, and I'll leave one up here for the public because I was unable to get the technology to put it on the screen, you see approximately 3 or 4 5-gallon jugs, or 5.5 gallons. You see a propane tank, you see 2 generators, you see a whole bunch of electric cords. I'd like to tell you very briefly, in 2007, I think it was, I had a generator sitting in my driveway, and with the sun beating on it, it just spurted a little bit of gasoline out. It was a Briggs & Stratton one, and it caught in fire, and I called the fire department, and I actually sued them for it, but the point was it was spontaneous combustion. Gasoline in El Cajon, when exposed to the surfaces, will explode without a spark. And these people have gasoline up on their roof. They have a tarp there that the moment you get a breeze, it's going to blow one of those cans over. And we're going to have 20 or 25 gallons of gasoline burning on top of a building. And I remember in 2003, although we're on Broadway by Bostonia, we were evacuated because the flames were jumping that quickly. This scares me, Your Honor. It really does. I know that I'm almost done. I know that Mr. Foley's working on it. Say again?
Please go ahead and finish.
Thank you. I know that Mr. Foley's working on it. I've been told repeatedly that we're trying to solve the problem. And my bottom line is, sir, please, let's get on with business and do something about it. That's it. Thank you.
First off, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I would like to ask staff to look into this.
Mr. Mayor, we are. Every aspect to bring full conformance to this is already underway. It's a legal matter. I can't speak to that in public right now. There is nothing about this business that we're not aware of, and the legal process is sometimes out of our timing control, but as soon as we can bring this, we will.
Thank you, sir. Let me see if there's any questions for you. No, but I appreciate your vigilance.
Thank you.
I want to just thank you for bringing this to the city's attention. This appears extremely dangerous, especially if people are in there with a mag lock and they can't get out. The building catches on fire.
I would agree. That's how it originally started catching my attention. And they put the mag lock back on the building. They're using the generator to lock the doors so people can't get out. Bob, can you give me just 1 second? I also went on Weed Map, and I noticed that there's a huge number of these dispensaries in the city area. I don't know if that's current or not, but that's how they advertise. I apologize for interrupting you.
You didn't interrupt me. But anyway, keep flying your drones and let's catch them all.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
I'd really like to do it, but I don't want to be a thorn in the city side, but I do want to keep pushing for this. I'm an older American. If somebody wants to buy and sell marijuana somewhere and they do it legally, I don't have a problem with it, but not near a Sunday school, not near a public school, not near a major intersection where we have tons of children going by. Then it's a bit much. And marijuana for adults is different than marijuana for children.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll leave the photo up here if anybody from the public wants to see it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
William Kenny.
Mr. Kenny. Welcome.
Gracious. Thank you. Feel humbled by all these wonderful things that went in front of me. Just little issues. We just did the last meeting that you had the Bike to Work Day, so we were honoring all of that. We just got done with our Ronald Reagan Community Center, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful rebuild, and the playground in front of it. We lost our bike rack, which I use, so the bike rack is gone. I don't know why. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It would be nice to have a bike rack in front of the library, just like we used to have a few months ago. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is I have a friend who's the manager of the San Diego Ballet, and she's been patiently waiting for that building to come back online. And now we have a wonderful hotel right next to it. This is a golden opportunity for the city. I'd just kind of like to know who I can talk to find out the status of that thing, or just anything. About the last 3 years, I've been going into the offices and say, what's going on? The ballet and the Grossmont Symphony performed there, I think, 3 times, and they'd love to come back.
Well, in answer to your question, we're in the process of working on a contract with a theater management company, an excellent theater management company. We have the money set aside to do the renovations. It's in process. I promise you that will be reopened, and people like you're talking about will have the opportunity to perform there.
Would that be ready by Christmas?
Well, let's just hope so. But I think it's probably realistically in the first quarter of this year coming. Does that sound about right? Maybe the second quarter. We've got to do. Well, before the election's over, we'll get this thing done. It's going to take a little bit of work because we're spending a fair amount of money to bring it up to modern standards, because the theater management company we're bringing in, they have some requirements because they're bringing in really top-notch acts. So it's all really good news. Just be patient, and we'll get there.
They have about 3 performances a year, and they mentioned about the pulleys and stuff in the back of the stage needed a lot of work. So that was
Doug's going to do that himself. He's going to. And as for the bike racks, if you could look on that and report back to us, I can't imagine why we couldn't figure out that problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Liz Lothar.
Did you want another award? Yeah. How is it? Look at this. What's all this? How fun. That's excellent. Yeah, perfect. Oh, that's great. You come bearing gifts. That's very nice. While you're setting that up, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. Is that okay? Okay. Take care of that.
Cajon Valley Schools and everything you do to support all of our schools. Today I'm here to share with you our June 3rd event, TEDx Kids at El Cajon at Greenfield Middle School, and hope that you will join us in celebrating our youth in Cajon Valley and celebrating all that we do to power up our community. So I have 2 videos to share with you today, and this is our promo video that we're going to show first. And this is all actors and actresses from Cajon Valley Schools and made at Greenfield Theater.
What does it take to be worth listening to? Is it having enough money? Or knowing the right people? Do you have to be tall? Or have the best haircut? Or the nicest teeth? Maybe it's an impressive degree. Or having lots of people call you the boss. Do you have to be a certain age to be worth listening to? No. All it takes is an idea. One idea, great enough, that it can't help but spread. TEDx Kids at El Cajon. Ideas worth spreading, no matter what grade you're in.
You guys always produce the best videos.
What does it take to be worth listening?
What's really neat about that video is we made it as kids as actors and actresses, and then our classified staff had it translated into Spanish and Arabic. So it's our first videos that we have trilingual for all of our families, and those can be found on David Miyachiro's YouTube channel, and he extends his appreciations and gratitudes for all of you. So for our TEDx event, we have expanded in our 3rd year, and we really do appreciate your support, the support of the rec department, from Sarah Ramirez, Frank Carson, and Tim Williams doing our math this year, to the Heartland Fire Department, the El Cajon Police Department, who are bringing out the K-9 unit, the SWAT team, as well as the ladder truck. So we do appreciate the support of the city and all of the organizations within the city. Our kids this year, we have 40 speakers, as well as a few featured speakers, including Congressman Hunter is coming out to give an opening for us. And will have a full day of student speakers talking about everything from experiencing sexual harassment to avoiding bullying, to kindness, to becoming a vegetarian, to wearing a hijab at school, and how that could be a challenge. So I really do encourage you to come see what our kids are coming up with for topics and what is in their world and what is kind of floating to the top of their priority list, which is great to see in El Cajon. Outside in our park area, the Greenfield track will be covered with exhibitors. We have over 40 exhibitors, as well as interactive slides, obstacle course, and wonderful vehicles coming out to be on our track area and an interactive space. The theme this year is Power Up, and we just want everyone in El Cajon to become a superhero and show their strength and show how they can improve upon our community. And together, we and us are better than just the I and myself. So the second video I'm going to share is some of the highlights from our coaching sessions. El Cajon Toastmasters have been helping with our coaching sessions with students, and they've been happening every Wednesday night at Cajon Valley's district office. And we just, again, have amazing speakers and amazing kids that are rising to the challenge. TEDx Kids is a community event where our students share their amazing stories, passions, and ideas. Tonight at our coaching session, we have several community volunteers from Toastmasters. We also have volunteers from our school district. So our coaches are working with each individual student to hear their speech over and over again, and each student is being looked at tonight for their tone, their speech patterns, their style, and what's in their talk.
My talk is about life as a hijabi. My talk is about spreading kindness across the world instead of hate and negativity. I wanted to do this because I'm really passionate about something.
TEDx Kids is where kids can express their feelings and talk about how we can change the world.
And these kids will blow your mind away with what a kindergarten all the way to an 8th grade student can come up with. It's pretty amazing.
I don't like bullying, how people are bullied and how everyone is saying it's not fair because of bullies or just calling the names and all of that.
I think it can make a difference if we all cooperate and make this world really a better place.
I decided to speak up and spread out the word of what is really the truth and what is really happening in my world.
We invite the community to be a part of TEDx Kids at El Cajon, so please come on down on June 3rd to Greenfield Middle School.
You cannot miss out on our amazing TED Talks. We work so hard, so give us some appreciation.
Come to TEDx Talks on June 3rd.
See you there.
So thank you so much for listening and watching our videos, and we really do hope to see you at TEDx Kids at El Cajon, and really do appreciate your support.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Ed?
I'm such a TEDx geek. I listen to all the lectures and stuff, but this is something really cool. I'm going to be there. I'm not a size large, though. I was planning on wearing the shirt. If you have a medium, let me know. And you're also a teacher then at Cajon?
I work at the district office. I support teachers.
I see. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, and please give our best to Dr. Marchero.
Thank you.
Stephanie Harper.
Hello again. I would like to readdress a problem that has not just fixed itself like many of us were hoping it would by just ignoring it. It's no longer certain people's problems, but now it's everyone's problem because their job is no longer to protect and serve. I have to speak out regarding an incident that happened on the 1st of January of this year involving our El Cajon Police Department and a man named Danny Baldwin. Mr. Baldwin was distraught and on the verge of suicide. And in fact, according to the video, he said that a few times to an officer. No PERT team was called. Mr. Baldwin was waving a knife and walking into the street where traffic was, therefore becoming a public problem. So it was at this time that Mr. Baldwin was tased twice, and he fell to his knees. Let me repeat that. He fell to his knees. As he was attempting to remove the taser arrows from his neck, it was at this time Mr. Baldwin was shot at close range 4 times. Channel 7 News quoted, Baldwin was spotted walking into traffic carrying a knife, police said. When Baldwin lunged at the officer with the knife, the officer fired his gun, officials said immediately after the shooting, end quote. I'm sorry to say that is a total lie. You can watch the video for yourselves and clearly see Mr. Baldwin was on his knees at the time the officer shot him. Not just once, but 4 times. I would take it that the officer was shooting to kill and not just stop him. He was already stopped. Can you really tell me that the officer who shot felt his life was in danger, or any one of the other 4 armed officers that were right there? Did the officer that shot this man really feel like if he didn't shoot, he wasn't walking away? Why did the officer that spoke to the press lie about Mr. Baldwin lunging at the officer that shot him? What's really going on? I would like to know how anyone who watches this video could see just cause for this shooting except to kill this man. The officer should be taken off duty because someone like that makes me fear for my safety and the safety of my family. Anytime an officer pulls his gun, it should be a life or death situation, a last resort, not the first. This was clearly not the situation here. My question is how? How do we allow these actions to be the normal way we handle things? This gives all the more reason we should have a citizens oversight committee for the police. If we, the citizens, are still paying your salary, which I believe we are, then you still work for us, and we should have the right to make sure you are doing your job right. The last time this was an issue, council voted out the idea of a citizens oversight committee for the police. What I don't understand about the way you voted was if everyone is doing their job correctly, then there would be no need to hide or vote the idea out, when all we want to do is be able to check up on things and the handling of complaints the citizens have. This is a great example of why people have let go of their faith in government, but on a smaller scale. We shouldn't have to question, remember, transparency. There's a reason we're having a hard time finding officers to join our department because of situations like this. Loving...
Sorry, we have a red light.
Okay. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Jaime Freitas.
Ms. Freitas, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Jamie Freitas. I come to you with a problem that only you can fix. There's an illegally placed marijuana dispensary at 905 Main Street. It's at the end of my street in Cajon. This dispensary is open 24/7, so the issues are ongoing. The effect in my neighborhood is the traffic. It's unbelievable. 2 years ago, we had basically no traffic. There's really no reason to be on our street other than if you live there. It's a 25-mile-an-hour street. Their customers are driving 30, 40, 45 miles an hour down the street. People are pulling out of their driveways, not expecting somebody coming that fast, and then the kids playing in the street. Their customers park in front of our driveways, make U-turns in our driveways, which in turn they've hit vehicles, or they've parked in front of driveways where you come out of your house and you got to wait for them to show up so you can get your vehicle out of your own driveway. And they have a tendency of emptying out all their trash onto our neighborhood. My street looks like a jack-in-the-box parking lot continuously. Along with that comes the loud music, and the booming from the music, while their buddies are sitting in the vehicles waiting for their other buddy to come out of the shop with their weed. I see a lot of families and employees in marked vehicles running in and out of there all day long. So much for a lot of these companies saying they do drug testing. The pedestrian traffic, again, the street's never had anything on it. It's tenfold. I see a lot of undesirable people walking by and hanging out in front of our neighborhoods, in front of our houses, waiting for their buddies to get their weed and come back out. And I won't let my grandkids play in front of our house. A bigger issue is the drug dealings that go on. About 25% of the cars I see that stop out there, they show up with 2 cars. One person goes in and buys the weed, comes back out, and hands the drugs off to the people in the other car and exchange money. So they don't even need a license. The other thing I see is I've had neighbors not complain, but talk about underage teens doing the same thing, waiting it out at the end of the street while somebody goes in and buys and come down and does the handoff to them. So we got our kids buying it just as easily. And then you see the same people 2 or 3 times a day, 4 times a day walk by, going to the same shop. So I have to assume that they're going there, buying, and then reselling it again when they get back to home. On more than one occasion, I've seen where they've been ripped off, and they have their own security company, or security employees. They do carry guns, some of them. See them coming out, running, chasing people around, trying to get their product back. And I hate to see anything go wrong with that. So real quickly, I had more to say, but I'd like to thank the El Cajon PD for doing an excellent job and doing their best and keeping the traffic slowed down and dealing with these people.
I appreciate that. I've got several things to say. One is, as you probably heard, we are as concerned about medical marijuana dispensaries as you are. And we're doing everything within the power that we have within the law to stop this. And we have a whole team on this, and it consumes a lot of our attention. So thank you for bringing it up to us. I want to tell you it's not falling on deaf ears. We absolutely think that you have the right to ask what you've asked us today.
Okay.
The second, I'd like to point out the police officers in the back. If you could stop by and visit with Chief Davis, I'm going to ask him to step up patrolling of your neighborhood and talk to him about what you can do in conjunction with the police to help the situation.
I think they're doing that right now for me.
They are. They do a great job, but we can do more. And then the last thing that I want to say is that I'd like to ask our city manager to send the traffic engineer out to see if there's anything we can do to reduce speeds and make the street more safe. We'll do everything we can to help you with your situation. Thank you for being patient with us, and I appreciate your diligence and vigilance on this.
Thank you.
Let me see if there's any other questions of the council.
Mr. Mayor, before we do, let me just inform the council, this is a prosecution case for the city. The court date is August 11th.
That make sense, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
If it goes through, if it happens, or
Wish we could do it faster.
yeah.
Bob?
In addition to that, Doug, is there any way that we could have a police car in front of the place and catch any violators?
Well, we cannot keep a police car there all day long, Councilmember McClellan. The police are very, very aware of this. This is a long-term, this is a case where the dispensary is the property owner, which has made it more difficult than in many other cases. The police are out there quite a bit, but we cannot put a police officer all the time.
They currently have a traffic radar machine on our block trying to slow them down.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
Just a comment. This is one of the reasons marijuana dispensaries are illegal in El Cajon.
I agree.
Thank you, sir. Feel free to come back anytime.
All right. Thank you.
Mary Case.
Hello, Mary. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to mention that Project Homeless Connect, which is coordinated by Crisis House, is occurring on June 2nd, a week from this Friday, at the Rock Church. And we'll have over 40 providers there providing a lot of different services, from mental health services, drug and alcohol services, employment services, haircuts, showers, lots of different things. We'll have vaccinations with the East County Public Health Center. That's a recent issue that's come to the forefront, and especially in the homeless population. So that'll be a good thing. We'll also be doing housing assessments. So the whole region is working in that effort to get all the homeless assessed, and so we'll have that happening as well. I wanted to mention that, thank our sponsors. Our title sponsor is Grossmont Healthcare District, and our Community Star sponsor is Grossmont Center. I want to invite you all to come out. That's all. Do you have any questions?
Gary?
Mary, thank you for doing this. It would be great if you could come back at a future meeting and let us know how it went.
Sure, I will. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry.
I have no other cards under public comment.
Okay, great. There are no written communications, and that brings us to item 3.1, which is a public hearing on amendment to the 2016 5-year Regional Transportation Improvement Program. Staff, would you please tell us about this?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, Council members. Yasmin Arellano, Deputy Director of Public Works. The Regional Transportation Improvement Program, commonly known as the RTIP, is a prioritized program designed to implement the region's strategy for providing mobility and improving the efficiency and safety of the city's transportation system. Local Transnet regulations require the city to conduct a public hearing for any amendments in the current 5-year RTIP. The current program was last adopted last year on May 10th of 2016. The proposed amendment includes the Greenfield Drive project closeout, additional funding for asphalt rehabilitation projects, sidewalk repair projects, traffic signal projects, traffic calming projects, and a traffic feasibility study. If you would like additional or more detailed information on the projects that are included in this RTIP amendment, we have the city traffic engineer, Mr. Sanchez, here to go in detail over the projects that are included in this amendment.
Thanks very much. Council, any other questions or comments? All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'd like to open the public hearing. Belinda, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
No cards on this item.
All right, then I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing. Move and second, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, Council, it's up to you. Any discussion, or would someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to adopt the next resolution to approve the amendment.
All right, is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Goebel. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Item 3.2 is a public hearing on conduit financing for the Cornerstone Place Affordable Housing Project. Staff, would you please tell us about this?
Thank you, Mayor Wells, members of the City Council. This is what we refer to as a TEFRA hearing. It's under the Tax and Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act. I think it was the 1982 Act that created a law under the Internal Revenue Code that requires any tax-exempt financing to have a public hearing in the jurisdiction where the project is to take place. South Sunshine Associates is the borrower with an agreement, a tentative agreement with California Municipal Finance Authority, which will be the issuer of these bonds, the revenue bonds that will, or housing bonds rather, that will be used for the construction of the project on Main Street, the Veterans Affordable Housing Project that the Council has previously approved. This is not create an obligation on behalf of the City of El Cajon. We're not the issuer. CMFA is the issuer. We have a representative from CMFA here today and one from Domus Development, I think, who's part of the South Sunshine Associates Limited Partnership. It's required that you conduct a public hearing and consider the evidence presented at the public hearing and then approve the resolution to proceed with the financing. If you have any questions, we're happy to try to answer those.
Let me see those questions. Questions for the City Attorney? Mr. Attorney, would you please explain to me conduit financing?
Yes, certainly. That's a methodology by which a local entity, in this case an authority, which is a public entity, Joint Powers Authority, issues bonds on behalf of a private entity, in this case a nonprofit. So when a nonprofit borrows money from the public entity, it gets the benefit of a tax-exempt financing. And that's why the TEFRA regulations are in place, because Congress wanted to make sure that those organizations that are taking advantage of tax-exempt financings will have the approval of or no objections from the local jurisdiction, the people in the local jurisdiction.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. The public hearing is now open. Belinda, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
I Have no cards on this item.
Then I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Council, this seems pretty straightforward, just housekeeping. Any discussion, or somebody like to make a motion? Mr. Goebel, you look...
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt the next resolution in order to approve the financing of the project by the California Municipal Finance Authority.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Best of luck, everybody. Thank you for building us nice houses. Item 4.1 is the proposed master plan for Wells Park. And Mr. Williford, you'll explain this to us?
I am. I'm going to wander down here because we've got a couple of slides that I'm going to speak to. Mayor Wells earlier this year brought this issue up to the City Council, given primarily some of the problems that the city increasingly has been experiencing at Wells Park over the past year. And the direction to myself and our staff was to take a look comprehensively at the entirety of the park and to come back with a proposed master plan. The outline for that master plan is in your agenda today, and we can quickly divide the proposal up into two basic categories. The first category is staffing and programming, and the second category is the physical improvement for the future of the park. So let me speak to staffing first. It is our proposal that we take 2 existing PSO, police service officers, out of our police department, where we have 13 positions, and transfer them into new positions that we will call park ranger. That will require some additional training, may require some small additional remuneration. That is something that we believe we can do very quickly this summer. And not only would that benefit Wells Park, where these individuals will be based, but we would like to be able to use these people to circulate around the rest of our parks on a daily basis and on as an ad-needed basis. In conjunction with that, our recreation department, which utilizes a number, actually over 100 part-time employees, mostly for the purposes of teaching classes, but we have other purposes for those individuals as well. We would like to assign a part-time person to, from time to time throughout the week and throughout the days at Wells Park, and as the staff report mentions, coordinating their time most likely with when the park ranger would be there. The yellow square that you see in this in this slide designates the approximate location. This location is chosen on purpose. As you can see, it is immediately central. It can see in all directions, which is very necessary, we think, to keep an eye on the park. Beyond the programming, we have proposed 3 phases to the physical future development of the park. This map, which is attached to your staff report this afternoon, shows Phase 1. The City Council earlier, by approving some fencing to go on either side of the Boys and Girls Club operations, one is the actual Boys and Girls Club all the way over to the right-hand side, the east side. The other one, the Teen Center, which is all the way over on the west side, is a part of this Phase 1. But what we're also suggesting is the beginning of some red curb on the public street, as well as temporary limited parking at certain key areas within the parking lot itself. The reason for that is we know through our police department, who is an integral part of this planning for the new master plan, alongside Public Works Department, Recreation Department, and my office, that will help get us at some of the problems we're experiencing out there. Thirdly, the bathrooms that are out there have become a major conduit of illegal activity. We wish to close those immediately. We would bring on temporarily porta potties, and as you'll see in a future phase, replace those with a permanent facility. Let's go to Phase 2. This first phase we believe we can complete by the end of calendar year 2017, so just next 6 months. Phase 2, which goes out to a maximum of about 2 years from now, would first up in the left-hand top corner. That is currently an area with a lot of trees, a lot of congregation of people there, although generally it's not that useful to the public that uses the park. We would like to expand the parking lot out into that area and, of course, provide necessary lighting, perhaps upgraded lighting throughout the rest of the parking lot. Additional fencing. In the central park, we have you'll see a kind of relocated playground that currently is further to the south. You'll remember that was one of our Kaboom projects. We'd like to move all that equipment up closer, activate the park area very close to the parking lot, and really in conjunction with another key part of the second phase, constructing brand-new bathrooms. As the staff report has described, these are the open design where both the bottom and the top are open, not lockable doors. We believe to the maximum extent possible this will put a chilling effect on inappropriate activity around those bathrooms. It's also proposed in the yellow squares where we would no longer have a temporary small trailer, but we would be able to construct a permanent staff office. While the staffing out there, we expect to be actually physically walking around the park most of the time. From time to time, they're going to need a place to sit and have paperwork and have the public visit and that sort of thing, and that yellow square is where that would be. We'll go now to the third phase, and the third phase primarily is really a look to implement some ideas that have been brought up at various times regarding the future. The mayor, about 2 years ago, proposed to the city council and to the staff that we look into the feasibility of a splash park. That's not a swimming pool like up in Santee, but a completely different kind of splash park, an overhead splash park. We temporarily put that idea on hold due to the drought, but as Maureen Stapleton mentioned earlier today, that drought is over. We believe it's feasible. It is expensive, as we've done the work on this earlier, that if we're going to do this right and do it well and really make it big enough to be usable, we think it would be an incredible amenity for the children out there. We would want to put it in that location, kind of in design conjunction with the relocated playground with an easy view of the parking lot, easy view of the Boys and Girls Club. That's the best place to put it. A much bigger possible proposal is, over the past year, staff has been contacted a number of times by entities in Orange County and Los Angeles County regarding the possibility of locating a so-called indoor soccer complex, ostensibly for adult leagues, but the city would have use of these during key times for our own citizens, our old youth. As council may be aware of, indoor soccer is often outdoors. It's just a smaller, with a little wall around it, smaller soccer areas. Be 8 to 10 of these fields with a major concession stand, storage buildings, another bathroom, controlled circumstance. This would, if we were successful in locating something like this, create an enormous, I would argue, unprecedented activation of the community of Wells Park. While this, we believe, would take a couple of years to actually come to fruition, we are requesting the ability of council to begin putting together an RFP to see out there in the marketplace of other ideas. It's not just indoor soccer. There could be other ideas or some kind of mix of ideas that the council could later choose from. And if that did occur in the place that we're showing it here, we would relocate, swing the dog park down a little bit to the south. There would probably be some controlled gates and access down to that area. When you add up all of these three phases along with the staffing proposals, this is a comprehensive look at the park to do two things simultaneously. First, to address the challenges that we all know we have out at Wells Park. I know the council's been out there. I've been out there many times. Our staff is out there all the time. The Boys and Girls Club lives out there. They're experiencing this. Most importantly, our citizens are experiencing the problems out there. But even more importantly, this allows us to take advantage of some of the tremendous opportunities we've got. This is an 18-acre park. As some of the history you read in the staff report pointed out, this is absolutely ground zero as far as historic recreation areas in this city. It's every bit as important now as it was a half century ago, arguably even more important with the immigration communities that have, immigrant communities that have moved in within walking distance of this park and utilize it hugely. It's becoming more and more important for the city to invest its planning and invest its funds into this park over the next few years. Having said all of this as far as the timelines, if council gives us authorization, if we get an opportunity to do something faster, we will. This is just, I think, a realistic three-phase timeline for the council to consider. We will provide, if council gives us the move-ahead today, further details and status reports as we move on this year and on into 2018. That concludes our report, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have. Thank you.
Questions? Go down the line.
Doug, do we have any video surveillance out there? I mean, I think there's probably a lot of stuff
I'm going to let
on.
we do, and I'm going to let Frank give us some information.
We actually have two different cameras, one pointing towards the parking lot, and then one that is centralized in it. That's 4 cameras in one.
Okay, if we need more, I'd be interested in funding that.
So yeah, and I think video surveillance and lighting, the whole issue of fencing. One of the things I didn't touch upon that I should, we put a whole paragraph section in the staff report regarding police work that has occurred out there and the kind of community-oriented tactics that they have advised us to use, and we've mixed that with Public Works and with Recreation to bring this comprehensive plan to council. One of the things that law enforcement believes is critical is to create a single point of entrance and kind of protected pathways, if you will. You've got to go through an area to get to a different area. That is great and safe for our citizens. It is intimidating for anybody who wishes to do harm. So one of the things, along with the fencing and out at the front, it would be removing a lot of the view-obscuring landscaping to give law enforcement and our Park and Rec staff clear views in and out of the park. It would be to create a very aesthetically pleasing wrought iron fence that would be both great to look at but also can easily be seen through, and critically a gate so we can gate off from vehicles this parking lot. So when it comes to all things visibility, all things kind of cordoning off and directing traffic in and out of the park as a whole or specific parts of this park, that's important, and we will keep looking at that in greater detail as we move forward.
Bob?
When we were in business, we had security cameras posted around our facility, and on top of them, they had this red light that kind of blinked as the cameras would move around. And it sure helped as far as keeping the problems down at the facility that we have. And I don't know if that's something that you want to consider or not, but...
We can. I'm going to be blunt. The people we're dealing out with there are beyond being frightened of a camera.
Yeah. No, I mean...
This requires, I understand, and I think that's a great idea. This requires city employees re-engaging back out on site.
Okay.
That is, if you're asking me what's the most important part of that, it is getting feet on the ground of city employees.
I'm talking in addition to...
I understand. I agree. Totally agree.
Ben?
All these ideas are really good. I just want to say that up front. The way I understand it is the issue I have with Phase 3 is that if we decide today to move forward on it, it's like saying we're going to spend $1 million on a water park, and then come 2 years or 3 years if it gets pushed down. My only concern is that if we, can use the money for something else. So I like all the ideas. I would say that if we can split it, so I'm good with 1, 2, 3. I'm good with. I'm just not good with deciding on it today. Another thing is that. What was the reason that we are pulling 2 police officers and into those positions as opposed to hiring 2 new?
Well, they're not police officers. They're police service officers. They're non-sworn. The reason is economics. I'm always watching the budget on behalf of the city. It's very important. We have 13 PSOs in consultation with the police chief. He was confident that we could transfer 2 of those positions into this. We spend so much police time out there right now. We think as we wrap it into everything else we're talking about, we'll get a dramatic net benefit with police time being freed up for other things. That's the reason.
Okay, so we'd have more police time freed up if we are moving police officers from there to there, or service officers, right? No, I know, I got that. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around
Well,
that.
sworn officers, you saw some of the calls out to Wells Park just over the past couple of years. Those are sworn officers. We believe we can make a serious dent into the amount of time that sworn officers, police officers, are required to be at Wells Park if we can utilize the PSO and rec staff in a better way out at this site.
And by moving them, that's not going to hinder their current position? Everybody's okay with that? We're not going to be lacking?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And I apologize for all these questions. I missed the meeting with you this week. Okay, another one is, would this not sworn officer have the capability to, and do we want to do this, conduct sweeps?
Well, sweeps would normally be involved with sworn officers, and without discussing tactics in public too much, yes, we intend on doing, I don't want to use that word sweep, that I think we would use focused enforcement. If I've been listening to the police chief enough, that's the term he would want to use. Those would be sworn officers, but again, if the park ranger's out there in a more permanent kind of situation, we believe the need for that's going to go way down in the immediate future. But we'll use the sworn officers to the extent that we need to, and since we're going to have more eyes on the ground, that communication between the PSO or the park ranger and our sworn officers will grow.
There's currently lights over the playground, maybe, Frank. And is there a reason why there isn't lights over the workout area?
I don't have an answer. Do you?
We've never engaged that at night. We have typically put a light out in the playground just recently so that we can illuminate the playground and some of the new fitness course. But that would be an area, the whole park needs to have better lighting in general.
Okay, yeah, so we should probably think about putting one up there. And then the sign, I know when I went with Frank a couple weeks ago, the sign that's out there, if we're going to do this master plan, we should look into making it more pretty because it looks like a sign like welcoming somebody to a prison.
And we agree with that. It is an antiquated sign, plus just the way it's designed, it's become a kind of convenient place for hanging out by sitting on top of it. And the police actually advised us the same thing, said when we have the ability, let's create something that looks good, but you can't necessarily easily sit upon. And, Mr. Colosio, if I go back and answer an earlier question or concern, you're talking about, I'm just putting this out there, a master plan is a generalized plan. So whether it be about a splash park or any other aspect, even if council gives us the go-ahead today, you are not approving a splash park. We will always come back with specific point-by-point projects. For instance, if we went out and got a grant, which is something we've always tried to do with Wells Park, we've never stopped trying to do that. And I agree with you of how expensive that is. That's why I really specifically put that number in there. That's not an easy thing to do. We would come back to council and say, well, this was discussed and highlighted in a master plan. Same thing is true as far as the indoor-outdoor, anything major. Are you now prepared at this point in time to move forward with this specific detail, yes or no? So there will always be another check before we come back to council on these things.
Going down that same road, so if we do say yes on this master plan, I understand that it's going to be more specific later. Are you saving this money from today then? Would this money be saved, or is this just in such generality that we're just...
It's the latter. It's such generality. The first 6 months, we will go immediately. We have the funds to do it. As you see in the staff report, there's not much money into that. Even the second phase is not that much money. We would budget it for next year, actually beginning this year's budget, which swings into 2018, and then for the 2018-19 budget, we would put it in the budget and identify for you how this fits in to this master plan. The Phase 3 one is really the longer one that costs a lot more money, and how and where, when we budget for that is something I'm just not able to answer today.
Thank you.
Yep.
I really like the phasing. I think the people of El Cajon really appreciate the phasing because you see progress rather than wait a year to see something big. If you see little steps along the way, the public says, okay, you've got this under control. I know what you're up to. So the phasing is an excellent strategy. My comment would be on the soccer complex or whatever you end up kind of going with in that area. We have a real economic development opportunity with that area to be a regional draw. If it is a soccer complex, perhaps there's an opportunity to make it a soccer complex like nobody else in Southern California has, and it draws tournaments, and it draws people to the hotel, and it draws people to the restaurants because El Cajon has this world-class regional complex in this part that nobody else has, and that might be an opportunity to look at that space that way.
Thank you, and I agree with that. I happen to have been able to be involved in the adult baseball complex over our next-door neighbor community, Santee, about a decade ago, and it is astonishing. I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you, because I wasn't really involved in adult leagues. I wasn't educated at the time on it. It is astonishing when you find out how many people will come into your community from not just El San Diego County, not just Southern California, other states. And we're building a couple of hotels right now. You might know that. And I think the economic development aspect of that kind of facility, you're exactly correct. It could be significant.
Well, I like the idea of possible soccer complex. I like the idea of the splash park, and the reason is because we have a lot of people that live on the valley floor that don't have a whole lot of money. And I think when I was a kid growing up in Santee when I was 10 years old, the highlight of my summer was getting to go to Henry Gunther Pool in El Cajon twice a summer. That was a really big deal. I always got a sunburn, but, I had a good time getting it. But, we have a lot of trailer courts there and apartments where they don't have access to a pool. And just cooling off on a 102-degree day in valley floor of El Cajon would be really great for a lot of kids.
Couple quick questions. Would this new design give the city the ability to lock up the park at night and stop people from doing business there?
Yes, obviously it would prevent vehicles from entering in with a gate. And as far as greater surveillance and lighting, pedestrians wandering in when they should not be in there, along with city municipal code ordinances, will do a much better job preventing that.
Okay, I just want to reiterate what Gary had mentioned. I would certainly like to see any new plans with the top-notch surveillance that we could have, even with the ability that some cities have to tell people from our command center, hey, we see what you're doing, stop it, go away. But, I'll let you figure that out. But I like the idea of the electronic watchdog. I think that's a good thing. But I love what you did. Thank you. I really appreciate the splash park issue. I mean, like Gary said, I grew up in apartments, and we didn't have a lot of opportunities to get out of the heat, and it's something that really reaches out to people that don't have a lot to do in the summer, and I think it's great to do for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary, Bob.
To go along with what Bill said, I know when I was in the automobile business, a lot of car dealers have installed cameras with motion detectors. When people walk into the park, so to speak, the light would come on, the camera would come on, you would have the access of or ability to say to them, you're not supposed to be in here, you need to leave, the police will be coming if you don't leave, and follow our orders. And that could be a possibility that stuff is available now, and it's probably come down a lot in price from when I was in the automobile business, and it's pretty prevalent in a lot of cases. But you have the right to talk to them directly, or you can have an automatic thing that says that. So Just a heads up, that's all.
All right, well, listen, thank you, Mr. City Manager. We appreciate the comprehensive report and all the work that's gone into this, and we will go from here.
Thank you.
Belinda, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
I have one card on this item from Stephanie Harper.
I think she's going to not speak. All right. Council, is there any further discussion, or would somebody like to proceed with the motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Goebel.
That the City Council approve the master plan for Wells Park and direct its implementation per the phasing plan as presented. It's a lot of P's.
Second. The move and second, and please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
And I just want to say that the city can be proud of our executive team. These kind of projects just couldn't happen without the level of quality that we have at the executive level. Thank you. Item 4.2 is on City Council policy regarding agendized issues to be discussed. Staff, would you please tell us about this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item last was discussed by the City Council on March 14th, and you directed staff to return with some ideas regarding placing council items on the agenda. And as your staff report in front of you this afternoon points out, our proposal actually has admittedly gone in a little bit different a direction, trying to look at a larger comprehensive issue. And so our proposal that is in front of you is actually for the council to hold 2 public forums throughout the year, one in the autumn and one in the spring. And the staff report explains the basis for that timing and its conjunction with the budget and so on. One to be held on a Saturday and one to be held during a regular council evening session. The purpose of these public forums is for both the City Council and the public to gather ideas once every 6 months, discuss them, list them on one agenda. There would kind of be a 2-step process here. Those initial meetings would be for the City Council to ask any questions you may want to ask, to discuss among yourselves a little bit, but it wouldn't intend to be for any decision-making. That would be for a subsequent meeting, and I'm estimating, depending upon how many items we're talking about at these meetings, perhaps a month or so later. It would afford the city staff a little bit more time to fill in some of the information gaps that might be needed on a case-by-case basis, return to the City Council, and during that second time, which would be a regular council meeting, afford the council to get at the issue that I heard at least was a major concern about kind of comprehensive prioritization of items brought in front of the City Council, and if they do require some money, do it in a way that can kind of comprehensively be looked at within the annual city budget. So we have outlined a 7-step process, or not a 7-step, but 7 characteristic process, and we'd, of course, be happy to answer any questions. We believe this gets at both a lot of the issues that was raised at the March 14th meeting, as well as a lot of the concerns that was raised at the March 4th meeting, and that concludes our report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Doug. I want to start off by saying that Mr. Goebel was the one who really brought this concept to our attention. Well done, Steve. And he may want to explain his thinking more when it gets to that point. But right now, we're going to ask if the council has any questions or comments. Mr. Colosio.
Doug, I see here that it says that other city councils do this?
Yes.
Which ones?
Well, the city of Irvine did when I was there. They would hold a couple of community meetings per year throughout in the city for this purpose, and I can get another list for other cities if you would like.
Is the city of Irvine district or at large?
It's at large.
So my concern is that this would probably violate the 14th Amendment, because once you go to district elections and you do this, so if you play the tape through, and because it's done through phasing, it takes power away from It'll take power away from the residents and give it in the hands of government, and I'll tell you how in a minute. I don't have a problem with. I just have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the town hall meetings or anything like that. My issue and my concern starts with paragraphs 4, 5, and 6. When you go to district elections and you'll have 4 districts, and if we end up having a town hall where I'm bringing up an agenda item or concern that my residents bring forward that are in my district, and somebody else in a different district doesn't see those to be as priority, so they won't vote for them. The people in my district then won't have equal protections to be represented, because when you're an at-large, it's totally different because everybody has a stake in it. If you're an at-large and you bring up something to the city council and we don't end up doing it, you vote us out. But if it's in my district, let's say, and I bring something up and it gets shot down once, twice, 3 times, and I'm not doing anything, I am by default going to get voted out by my constituents because I'm not doing anything that they ask to be done. And this is not, I'm just giving an example here. It could be the other way around. I mean, it could be where you have one libertarian up here and 4 Green Party candidates or representatives who have nothing in common besides breathing. So that, when you go to district elections, this formula won't tread water because you're going to, by default, create violations in probably the 14th Amendment, equal protections, because you're going to have a group of residents in a district that won't be represented. So it's discriminatory in that sense because you're going to have by default people who don't care as much about the stuff that's happening in your district as you do, and you have to fight for that those issues for them. When it's that large, it's everybody's problem, but when it's district, it becomes one person's problem. So the Rotary test, is it fair to all concerned? I was thinking about that when I read this, and I don't think it would be. And it's not just this council. If you fast forward the tape 10 years from now, you don't know who you're going to end up with. And if you're in an area where there's a marijuana dispensary and then another district has no marijuana dispensaries, everything is great, but you're like, listen, I need to get this marijuana dispensary out of my district, and the other 3 districts are like, go shovel snow, then you end up having a problem in your own district, and that's what that would create. So I asked you what city is doing it now because I do know that when this is done, it's only at-large cities, not district.
Isn't that the concern with district elections in general?
I don't understand the question.
That's the argument that I most often hear about district elections is that individual districts will be represented by the council member, and the council member will not care about the city as a whole. So that, to me, that question has been answered by Proposition S.
No, I don't follow the nexus, but
I'll tell you. I'll explain to you.
Okay.
So we went and made the argument to the people that the California Voting Rights Act wants us to do district elections. People had the choice. People heard the arguments, and they said, that's not an issue. Well, we want district elections. So I think that's a moot point.
Well, no, because when you presented Measure S, you didn't present this with Measure S. And as you can see, I attended every workshop. I didn't see you. Hold on, 1 second.
No. This meeting.
Hold on. When you called on me,
I'm asking you a question.
So hold on. Let me finish my
this
point
meeting
really quick,
that you're against the concept of having a planning meeting.
No, I didn't say that. I said that my issue starts with paragraph 4, 5, and 6. Have you read the full report?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So I don't have a problem with having town hall meetings or anything like that. No issue whatsoever. The issue is you're saying that people voted for Measure S. Yes, that's true. They voted for Measure S. Voting for Measure S in district elections and then now bringing this new policy in play with which voters didn't vote for. Us 5 are going to vote for that. So I don't really understand the nexus there. But what I do want to say is that you will create you will create an atmosphere where you're discriminating against a district, whether it be mine or Gary's or whoever it is, or Bob's, because people are going to care only about their district. I agree with you, because that's by nature what's going to happen. But you're never going to get things approved doing it this way. And because prioritizing them is going to be different. Your priorities in your own district are going to be different than my priorities in my district.
Mr. Gold, I'll get right back to you. I just wanted to ask the city attorney, are we in any way in danger of violating the 14th Amendment?
Well, it's hard for me to answer off the cuff. I think Councilmember Kalash's position is similar to what the claim he presented is that it takes away representation of the constituents of a member of a district, is what he's saying. It's sort of the argument he made previously about why he stressed the need to be able to bring items before the city council that led to this agenda item. So the equal protection is to make sure that everybody has proper representation. You have the right to petition the government, all that kind of stuff. That you don't become a second-class citizen in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's usually depending on classification, but in this case, he's taken it to the political arena. In other words, that a politician or a politician's constituents have lost that representation.
Mr. Goble?
So if we don't adopt this, the situation still exists. A council member could say, I'd like to put something on the agenda. It doesn't get a second. And without this policy, the item dies. So I don't see this policy as interfering or providing a new conflict. Quite the opposite. I think this policy was meant to address the concern that it took two people to put something on the agenda. And this is saying, hey, you can still put something on the agenda. Anybody can say, I'd like to put it on the agenda. As far as whether it gets a second for a motion is going to be a concern with this policy or without this policy. Gary, Bob?
Well, one thing that I do like about this policy is that you can have regular Joe or Joanne, citizen, come in and put something down on the agenda for that day and run it past the council. They don't even have to talk to their councilman. They might have some really great ideas. We got people that come here all the time that have ideas, and this way they can present it before the whole council. And we can prioritize. We can say, wow, that's great. Let's do this really soon. Or maybe that's not a great idea. But it's a matter of prioritizing. And I think Steve makes a good point in that right now, it takes 2 votes to actually put something on the agenda where the staff would do a report. And it costs the city money. But this is actually enhancing what we have now, giving more power to the people to come in and put something before their entire city council.
Bob?
I've seen numerous times that people under public comment have come in and brought something to the attention of all of the council members as well as the staff. And a lot of times what will happen is the staff will say, well, call the city manager's office or the building inspector or whatever, and we'll see if we can't get it handled. So it doesn't even need to be on the agenda, and it stops a lot of things. But a lot of people do that under public comment. I've mentioned it to a lot of people. Come in, talk about on public comment, and maybe something will happen as a result of it. So it solved a lot of problems when I've been called. So that's the tack that I've always taken. So as far as this is a good idea or not, I could see where one council member in one district would have a major problem in his district. Say, for instance, in the Fletcher Hills area, you have a major problem up there. All of a sudden you have a bunch of drug people up there trying to take over a block or a neighborhood or something like that. And it would be a problem for that council member, but it wouldn't necessarily affect the other council members. Or say if it was in downtown district, same idea. So it might limit the ability of things, and that's why I'm not a real fan of district elections, because San Diego City has district elections. they don't get a lot of things done on account of that. And the state of California, there's the two failing government bodies, in my estimation, that things don't always happen that the people in the rest of the state or the city of San Diego would like to see done. And because of district elections and term limits, too, are causing a lot of problems in that area, which you don't have educated people that are in their positions for long enough to where they really get a grasp on them. So, I don't know.
Okay. Ben?
Let me just remind everybody that because you're going to district elections and because you're treating this as phases, I'm going to piggyback off of what Bob said. If there's something that's prioritized as phase one, and then I can't put it on the agenda in the next 2 weeks because because the way this thing reads is phase one needs to be completed before phase two could be entertained, that obviously you would be misrepresenting or not representing and discriminating against a district, because you'd have to wait for the phase one, and then who knows where phase one would be. It might be in a different district. And then I'm sitting here waiting, well, my stuff isn't prioritized. It's on phase three, so I have to wait and see whenever phase one and two get completed before phase three gets completed. So that's when you're going to be violating the law. It would be violating the law because we're going to district elections. If we weren't, I wouldn't be bringing this up.
I just want to say that I've worked as a hospital administrator before. It's a large organization. I think Steve's worked in large organizations before as well. And if you have a very large, complicated organization, it's impossible not to have prioritizing meetings and to set agendas throughout the course of a year. You have to have goals that match up with your budget. Otherwise, you're in the second quarter, somebody brings up a concept that's very expensive, the budget does not reflect that. All of a sudden, there's chaos and disarray because we're trying to implement programs that we weren't prepared for. I think El Cajon is large enough that it doesn't make sense not to have priority planning meetings. And I think we're just making this too complicated. I don't think this is nefarious. We had a problem. We still have a problem where there's too many agenda items going on. The staff can't keep up. We've got to deal with that some way. That, frankly, the ideas that I had to deal with it were met with some resistance, so this is a compromise.
So you're the one that brought it up on the agenda. The staff didn't tell you about it. You were the one that put it on. So that's just gratuitous. Okay, here's how I'm going to tell you. It's not, when you brought up the example of you worked at a big corporation or you worked at a big corporation, we all did. But let me tell you something, government and business are different. Okay. And so we're not sitting here trying to make a profit. And what I do want to say is, feelings aside, where you say I feel that, I'm not here to respect beliefs. I'm here to evaluate reason. And what I'm telling you is that you would be in violation of the law if you adopt this, because by default it will create you'd be discriminating against the district.
Well, I do appreciate your vast legal knowledge. I think we need to move on and have a vote. Would you like to make a motion, or would anybody like to make a motion? Mr. Goltz, feel free.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, if I may interrupt, we do have a speaker card before we get to motions.
I'm sorry. I thought we'd already asked that question. Yes, speaker cards, please.
Stephanie Harper.
Mayor Wells, you've been on council governing our city since 2008. Councilman Kendrick, you've been on council since 2002, governing our city for 15 years. And Councilman McClellan, you've been on council governing our city for more than 25 years. Altogether, you have a combined total of 49 years on council. Let's look back. Within the past 25 years, our city has become the poorest city in San Diego. Our unemployment rate is higher than the state's. Our Performing Arts Center has closed and has stayed closed. Our homeless population is at the highest it's ever been. We pay the highest cheer rate to SDG&E than any other city in San Diego, and our citizens live day to day uncertain of their future. This is the products of your reign in office governing our city, and we're not happy. Mayor Wells, in a meeting a little while ago, you were saying that in the year 2015, only 7 items got placed on the agenda by council, and the same in 2016. You stated that in such a way you almost sounded proud of that. So for 2 years, between 5 members placed 14 items on agenda. That's about 2 to 3 items from each member for 2 years. That leaves me with one question for you. What are we paying you for? Sounds like you guys have gotten away with doing really not much of anything for the past 25 years. So that is the real reason this item is on agenda. Ben makes the rest of you look bad. He's trying to do the job he was voted in to do, and that means that you guys may actually have to do your job. We have never needed anything like this before. There has never been limits or reins on what a council member can put on agenda. Want to know why? Because I know. It's because they've all thought like you. The majority of the past council members thought the same as you do. So there was never a need for something like this. But here comes along someone who doesn't think like you, and now there is all of a sudden a need. They have a name for people who change the rules when the rules don't suit them. They have a name for people who try to intimidate or muscle out, or in this case, district out, someone who doesn't think like them. They have a name for people who look down on others and do wrong to them. These people are called bullies. I've been coming in front of council for the past year, pointing out wrongs and requesting that things be handled, and requesting things that need to be handled, but my requests have fallen on deaf ears. Never once has anything I spoke on been dealt with. So to say that you will all of a sudden start listening to us is ridiculous. I'm going to wrap this up with one question I would like answered by each of you. Tell me when was and what was the last agenda item that you placed on agenda at a citizen's request?
Any more cards?
No more cards on this item.
Okay, council, Steve, you were about to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that the City Council direct staff to implement, beginning in 2017, the public forum process as outlined in the staff report.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by a vote of 4 to 1, with Councilmember Kalasho voting no.
All right, there are no commissioner reports. Item 6.1 is my activities report, is as reported. Item 6.2 is the legislative report. The only thing I've got to report is that AB 805, that's the bill written by Lorena Gonzalez-Fletcher, which would change the structure of Sandag, has been placed in a suspense based upon its cost. That sounds like it might be detrimental to the bill. It's just a formality. Our lobbyists say that it should easily pass through that and then off to the Assembly for the next phase of voting on approval in the Assembly. So that's where we're at. We're still fighting against it, and I'll keep you informed. Councilmember Kendrick, anything on agenda?
As reported.
Councilmember McClellan.
As reported, however, I got some food poisoning over the weekend, and I was very sorry to say that I was not able to go to America on Main Street. That was a real disappointment to me because I would have liked to have been there.
You must have been eating in Santee.
Someplace.
Yes. Okay. Very diplomatic. I appreciate that. Councilmember Kalasho.
My report will be in the next agenda.
Councilmember Goebel.
As reported, with the addition of attending the East County Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs Committee meeting this morning.
All right. We have a joint council member report, which is item 11.1, which is a request for funding of a housing navigator through Crisis House, brought to us by council members Goebel and Kendrick. Gentlemen?
Well, as everyone knows, the entire state has an overabundance of homeless these days. One city can't solve the whole problem, but one thing we can help with is to help people find a home, because it's pretty tough to get a job if you don't have a place to hang your hat, a place to sleep, a place to take a shower. And this way, if we contract out for this housing navigator for a 1 year period, there's not a whole lot of risk involved with the city. If it doesn't work out, we're just out that money for that 1 year. This person doesn't work for the city, so there's not this 30 or 40% of the wage that has to go to PERS. And I think we have a really good chance of putting a lot of people into housing when we have someone that's all they do. They're the expert. They create personal relationships with the homeless and create trust. And if the veteran, they know they go to there are programs for veterans, so they can identify the unique needs of all these different homeless people and hopefully get some of them off the street and get them help.
This item came about as a series of discussions with various stakeholders in the process. The police department, the fire department, the Chamber of Commerce, even Waste Management, the Regional Task Force for the Homeless, and I would like at this time to acknowledge Megan and Chris, if you would please stand, that we can acknowledge you if they're from the Regional Task Force of the Homeless in San Diego. Every day you spend your working day trying to help people find a home. So thank you for your work. Jack Miklos and Mary Case from Crisis House had a huge part of this concept coming to fruition. Talking with the Community Resource Center at Encinitas and Rebecca Palmer, that city tried a one-year pilot up in their area, and they were able to get 22 people placed out of a goal of 25. The County Health and Human Services Agency and the Housing Authority has put input into this. The East County Task Force on the Homeless and the 10 teams that have been involved with that has had input into this. And, of course, Crisis House here in El Cajon, who is designated by the county as a very central part of solving this. There's a bottleneck in this whole process because we have these assessments. There are a zillion acronyms, and VI-SPDAT is probably one of the most interesting acronyms that I've heard. And that has to do with assessing homeless people and classifying them into categories of needs. But the missing piece is, now that we have these people assessed, who is the person that can match their need to a place to live? And a housing navigator is that kind of person. This particular program, which I'd like to call Project Home Team, involves St. Paul Senior Services, because the goal, I'm hoping, would be for seniors aged 55 and older to be perhaps first on the list because of their vulnerability due to their age, their health conditions and things. And St. Paul's has a specific program which provides ongoing support and housing assistance funds to these people to keep them in homes. Project One for All with the county handles those who are mentally ill and provides permanent ongoing housing through Section 8. And so there's hope for those people as well. The people of El Cajon are clamoring for a response to the issue about homelessness in our community. It affects all of the stakeholders that I've previously mentioned. And so this is a chance for the council to respond in a way that I think the public would really appreciate. And it was proven to be an effective way in Encinitas. I think if we tweak it a little bit and have the St. Paul's component, that the housing navigator, I'm hearing from these people, is the missing piece in trying to get them into homes. And that's, I think, what Gary and I have a passion for the homeless, and we'd love to see the council support sending this to staff for fleshing out. Bob?
I think that's a good idea. However, I question how many homeless people would have a good record for being able to move into, say, an apartment, the down payment or the first and last month's rent and all this other. Now, how do you put all that together where most of these homeless people don't have 2 nickels to rub together? A lot of times they're in the dumpsters looking for something to eat. So I think they need a certain amount of funds in order to benefit from that, and I'd like to hear from the people, the homeless that worked with the people in Encinitas, how that's a more affluent community. Maybe they subsidized it where El Cajon wouldn't be in a position to do that, because when I got elected, we had 17,000 apartment doors that people paid rent, and that was at the time I was elected. I worked 10 years with one person to do apartment conversions, which after 10 years, we got our first conversion done, and then it was like an avalanche of conversions after that, which put ownership rather than rentership. And when you have ownership, rents don't go up. You're paying for your home, and the price doesn't change. But when you have renters, it continues to change. Plus, there's more pride in ownership, and I would like to see that again, to where we could have more conversions to where people became owners, and the rents or the price of housing would be more stabilized, and that would bring about a better demographic in our community, which Stephanie was talking about. But we haven't been able to change that since the real estate bust a few years back, and it stopped just like that. And I'd like to see that resumed, but it takes private industry to do that, and then help people get into some of these homes with the home funds and things like that that we have available sometimes. So I don't know how you solve these problems, but I'd like to hear about how they were able to solve them up in Encinitas, unless they subsidize it through the city. And the lady's saying like this, and they're a lot more affluent community, and I don't think our city's in a position to subsidize people moving into homes. That's a problem that I see.
Well, Bob, great concerns, because it's always how do you get them to stick. In the case of the seriously mentally ill, through Project One for All, the county pays for their deposit, pays for rent on an ongoing basis through Section 8. As of January 10th, there were 344 vouchers ready, but no navigator to place them into places. So that pays the ongoing rent for those classified as seriously mentally ill, which is a wide spectrum. You could have PTSD and you just can't be housed with somebody else, so you need your own place. There's a wide spectrum what a seriously mentally ill is. So in that program, the county takes over paying for ongoing rent. In the case of seniors aged 55 and older, we're proposing perhaps 1 to 5 months of housing assistance. At that point, St. Paul's takes over. They have a federal program which pays ongoing rent up to market rate, and the person who is in the house, in the apartment, they only pay 30% of whatever income they get. And St. Paul's helps them get SSI income if they're homeless, because they are not probably having a lot of income. And so by getting them SSI and then only charging 30%, and the federal government takes over paying the rest of the rent, they are insured ongoing housing. The program that we're asking the council to support is up to $150,000. If we can get 25 people off of the street, and the police have indicated that they know of good candidates already who are willing and wanting off the street. They just need that missing link of a case manager called a housing navigator. If we can get 25 people off the street for $150,000, that's an average of $6,000 apiece. I know we're spending more than $6,000 in emergency response from the fire department and from the police department, more than $6,000 a year probably on average on these people. So it seems like it can be a cost saver to society and answer quality of life. We're not going to have fires in canyons, or every person we get into home, whether it's 1 or 25, is a good thing.
You know, Bob, another answer to your question is that sometimes people just need some temporary housing to get back on their feet. I mean, it's hard to get a job if you can't take a shower and can't shave and you're all, dressed messy and everything. East County Transitional Living Center is a really good example of that, where the people stay out there for a few months and then they're off getting jobs and on their own. Right. So this is a little bit like that. One component is getting people what they need, a unique program for that particular person, and have an expert do it. That's something that's missing in the piece of the puzzle right now. And I think and we do take a little bit of risk, but it's $150,000 in the grand scheme of things is not a whole lot, considering what we can achieve to help some people whose lives may be ruined in their families and all that. I think it's money well spent.
Quick question. With this plan, you may not have gotten this far yet, but with this plan, force people to take drug tests and to be not using drugs, not using drugs and alcohol while they're in this temporary housing?
I think that's up to Crisis House, who would be the housing navigator, and this might be a good time to pause and open for public comment if you deem so.
Yeah.
I'd like to know whether the chief thinks that, because they've been working with the homeless, that there's situations out there that people are not drug and alcohol addicted and that would like to look forward to an opportunity like this if they had the ability to move into a place that maybe the county pays for some of it or whatever.
You want to ask Chief Davis that?
Yeah.
I'd like to remind the council, this is only to decide whether to place it on the agenda to have a discussion, as opposed to simply going through all the fine details of this program.
Okay. Why don't we listen to the speaker cards and take, keeping council's admonition in mind that we're just making a temporary, the first step of this decision. Can we call the cards, please?
Yes, Jack Miklos.
Hi, Jack. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Councilman. My name is Jack Nicholas. I'm the Assistant Executive Director at Crisis House here. First, let me begin by saying I was honored to be a part of the conversation and the dialogue regarding a housing navigator for the region. I believe that Crisis House is the best match to perform this service. We currently have 2 housing navigators, one dedicated to veterans only and one dedicated to victims of domestic violence with children. So we have the experience to perform the tasks at hand with the housing navigator. It's a complicated issue. We, as a nonprofit, have some restrictions about what we can and can't do with individuals that are on the streets. To answer your question, Mr. McCullen, we're not permitted to drug test any longer, even though we used to be able to do that. But there's some requirements from funding sources that limit our abilities and tie our hands to do that. The goal is to get somebody into housing first and continue to work with them while they're in that housing. Ironically, I'm working on another proposal for something else, and I'm finding that our homeless impact the city in many ways. Our hospital emergency rooms are filled with individuals accessing services. There's been studies done that those individuals that have stable housing are more receptive to treatment and to take care and maintenance on their chronic medical conditions by taking their medications. We know from history that individuals that are on that limited income tend to spend every penny that they have in their community that they reside in. They don't invest in outside investments. They don't save money. They actually are spending money back in the community at grocery stores, convenience stores. If they are lucky to have a car, they're paying for gasoline at the local service station. Their money stays within the community. It's a matter of getting them at that point so that they can be stable and be a part of the community, no matter how limited that participation in the community is. So I want to thank Councilman Goebel for including us in the conversation. We look forward to further discussions on this topic, and thank you.
Let me see if there's any questions for you, sir. Bob?
You say you're limited in being able to do drug testing and things like that. I was just wondering if say, the El Cajon Transitional Living Center was the housing navigator, if they are able to do that. I mean, there might be other choices that maybe we could screen them a little closer before we get them started. And,
as I said,
and then fail in the attempt to get them permanent in the housing.
Depending on the funding source becomes the limitations. Funding from the city would not limit us to drug testing those individuals participating in the proposed proposal. It's only our other resources are coming from certain other funding that's at the federal level. So the 25 that's being recommended, those individuals could be drug tested without a problem. In order to do the housing navigation, it takes, in all respect for my colleagues in the industry, it takes a little bit more than what I believe the East County Transitional Living Center is at this point able to perform. So,
okay, Mr. Colosio.
In 10 seconds, if you can answer this, because I know that we're just talking to put it on for a future. it's $150,000 for a housing navigator. I was looking at the salaries, and it's like 36 to 58, so why is it 150?
It would be a new position for Crisis House. There is a computer expense. There's expense for communication, so internet communications. They have to be linked to the internet to be part of the service plan and the coordinated entry system that's taking place in the county. There is telephones on the budget, I believe. There is transportation as far as gas mileage to go around, because homeless individuals, while they may come to Crisis House all the time, certain times when there's housing available, we may need to go out and find them as well. And there's a significant portion of that money in that budget for that rental assistance to get them in to that first housing unit.
I'd like to clarify, the Housing Navigator fully loaded is $70,000. It's a $36,000 a year position with payroll taxes, with insurance, with car mileage, with computer. That portion of the Navigator is $70,000. We're proposing an additional $50,000 for rapid rehousing assistance for those that don't qualify under other sources to get 1 to 5 months so that they get housed and are covered by St. Paul. And an additional $30,000, I think, is left for other kinds of things. So the Navigator portion fully loaded is $70,000.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. One other comment, though, before I leave. This is the partnership that Councilman Goebel's put together, possibly with St. Paul's, is a very unique situation. With potential funding from the city, you would be the first in the region to do so. So it's an opportunity to be a leader within San Diego County, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Case.
Hi, Mary.
Hi. I'm not sure I can add much more to this, but I did want to thank Councilmember Goebel for educating himself on this complex issue, because this is a whole region-wide issue that's being we're trying to address. So between the assessment, coordinated entry system, and having housing navigators and matchers, it's a regional effort. So we're fitting into that by doing this. But I'm glad that Jack mentioned that this would be the first general homeless type navigator, and so I appreciate El Cajon looking into this. Also, we can limit only accepting homeless people from El Cajon. So I wanted you to be aware of that. The issue about drug and alcohol testing has been a regional issue as well as a federal issue. But realistically, placing somebody into housing that's actively using may be an issue for the housing. And so we wouldn't want to jeopardize relationships with landlords, especially in a market like this where less than 2% vacancy rates are we're dealing with. So, but I also want to say that although we can limit taking people from just El Cajon, we have access to the whole region when it comes to housing options. So I think that's important to mention, that not necessarily housing will be found in El Cajon, because as part of the whole continuum of care for this region, we would do a housing assessment on the person. It would go into the regional homeless management information system, which is led by the Regional Task Force on the Homeless. Then they would help in terms of accessing other housing. Plus, Councilmember Goebel mentioned the PACE program, and so that opens up a whole nother opportunity of housing with those that are 55 and over. And also, one big advantage is that those that are 55 and over and could partner with PACE would mean that they'll get other services that they may not get if they're just renting an apartment somewhere. So I think that's an advantage, and I won't say any more because I think we're looking at time. But Gary, did you have something oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Okay. Any other questions?
No, Mary, thank you.
Thank you.
No other cards on this item.
All right, council, any further discussion? Somebody like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the city council direct the city manager to place this item on a future agenda for discussion and decision.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, there are no general information items for discussion and no first readings of ordinances. Item 14.1 is the second reading of an ordinance amending specific plan number 182. Does council have any questions or comments? Belinda, do we have any speaker cards on this issue?
No cards on this item.
All right, would you then please recite the title of the ordinance?
An ordinance amending specific plan number 182, streamlining the development permit process by eliminating the need for a conditional use permit for reduced parking. And that's it.
Somebody like to make a motion?
Move to adopt.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Item 14.2 is the second reading of an ordinance on zoning code update number 432. Does council have any questions or comments? Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
No cards on this item.
All right, would you please then recite the title of the ordinance?
An ordinance amending Title 17 of the El Cajon Municipal Code regarding accessory dwelling units. And that's it.
Would somebody like to make a motion, please?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, we are now at closed session. Item 15.1 is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. May we have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor,
to the
before you
closed
go to
session?
that, we should announce the added item, which is item 15.2, which is a conference with legal counsel for anticipated litigation, significant exposure litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D of section 54956.9, one potential case. The facts and circumstances are as stated previously, but a correspondence received from an attorney for Councilmember Colascio has alleged that the city council committed certain violations of law, including violations of the Labor Code, the Brown Act, and the United States Constitution, in approving the maps, 5 maps that will be discussed at this evening's meeting. Mr. Colascio will not be attending the closed session, and I suggest we just take that one up first so that he can participate in the second one, the first one second.
That's fine. So I'd like to make a motion to move to closed session.
Second.
So take that as my motion and second, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to closed session. We'll be back in a few minutes, and the city attorney will report. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming back from closed session. I'm going to ask our city attorney to report.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council met in closed session on 2 items. On item 15.1, which was a conference with labor negotiators, they gave direction to its negotiators. And on 15.2, there's no reportable action.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. We are now at adjournment. The adjourned regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority Successor Agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency held this 23rd day of May 2017 is adjourned till this evening, May 23rd at 7 o'clock p.m. in about 30 minutes from now. So we will see you in 30 minutes. Thank you.